The Michigan Wolverines have won the toss. They, I presume, will get the first offensive possession. No, they will not. The Michigan Wolverines, just like the Oklahoma Sooners did last week, winning the toss, have elected to go with the wind. So they wanted the wind, and they will kick off to the Aggies of Texas A&M. The officials for today's ball game: Bob Fallon's a referee, Marvin Durenberger the umpire, head linesman Wayne Meese, line judge Roland Goss, field judge Jim Evans, and the back judge is Tom Klein. And Frank Royals, haven't been many times that you walked into a big old stadium like this with this many people. I'm a little curious as to what your reflections are looking down on 101,000 more.
This is a sight to behold, something that people dream of, and Michigan has it, and everybody's envious of it. I think the reason Michigan chose the wind, Keith, they want A&M to handle that ball deep on their end of the field with the wet turf and the slick ball.
Curtis Dickey is 22. Darrell Smith is number 20. Dickey, a 202-pound sophomore. Smith is a 170-pound junior. Both are Texans. They will return. They kick off as Emory Ballard paces the sidelines. Greg Wilner will do the kicking for the Michigan Wolverines from the 40-yard line. This ball game is ready to go. Wilner, a junior out of Miami Beach, Florida, and here we go. The last time they played, 1970, Michigan beat them 14-10. He hooks it toward Dickey at the 6. Dickey is back to the 23-yard line where he is chopped down. Nell Owens brought him down. The offensive backfield for Texas A&M now. They will open with a left-hander at quarterback, and his name is David Walker. And he is a very poised, good football player. The speedster is Curtis Dickey. The Adger Armstrong, very quick outside. And the hammer is Big 33, Woodard, with Darrell Smith at the split end. And here come the white-shirted Aggies up. Smith wide to the left. They give the ball to Dickey. And Dickey comes popping through there across the 25, and you see the Michigan Wolverines jumping around, pumping themselves up. Working up front for the Texas Aggies, Cody Risen, offensive tackle. Ed Pujovsky is the guard. In the middle, it's Mark Dennard, and he's one of the game captains. Kenny Kirk will be on the other side at right guard. Frank Myers at tackle, and Russell McKiska will be the tight end. It is second down and 8 yards to go from the 26-yard line as they go inside to George Woodard. And number 54, Steve Graves, the middle guard, got underneath and chopped him down. Michigan lines up defensively this way with Curtis Greer, Steve Graves, and Chris Godfrey, the 3 down men. Ron Simpkins, Jerry Meter, Dom Tedesco, and John Anderson backing them up. The defensive unit in the backfield is Mike Jolly, Derek Howard, Dwight Hicks, and James Pickens. This time Michigan sends a 5-man front on 3rd down and 7. It's Walker on the option, pitches it outside. The pitch was to the tight side of the field. There was no place for Curtis Dickey to go as Jim Pickens, the safety man, came across to knock him out of bounds. And so now Texas A&M, with David Appleby coming on the field, will have to punt the ball away, and Michigan should get decent field position, since Appleby is going to have to kick the ball into the wind. Now, he had 6 kicks last week, averaged 45 yards. He had 1 kick that went only 11 yards. Michael Jolly and Michael Harden are the deep men for Michigan, as Appleby, averaging just under 45 yards a kick, gets it up, hangs it beautifully. It is Harden. And good coverage downfield by Texas A&M. So into the wind, Appleby knocks it 41 yards. That is a heck of a punt. And he had it in the air almost 5 seconds. Now watch what happens as a high-hanging kick like that, Harden under it. The Aggies are able to get down, and Michigan's lucky they didn't get hit right there with a clipping call. Contact, however, was not made. So here comes Michigan up to the line of scrimmage now, with Russell Davis and Harlan Huckleby set behind Rick Leach. And it's outside to Huckleby. They got him out there one-on-one, and he almost turned it upfield. From the 31 up to the 35, the Michigan Wolverine backfield lines up thusly now to give you a good look at him. The left-hander Rick Leach, Harlan Huckleby is the tailback. Russell Davis is the fullback at 220 pounds. Max Richardson is the wingback. And Rick White is the wide receiver. The ball is at the Michigan 35, where it is second down and 6 for the Wolves. Kurt Stevenson in now at the wide receiver position. He's wide to the open side of the right side of the field. And Leach gives the ball to the second man, Huckleby. Huckleby coming out of the eye is hit at the 36-yard line. Michigan operating up front with these big people. Mike Kinn, he is the offensive tackle at 244. Donahue is at 245 pounds. Walt Downing, 250 plus. Greg Bartnick, 200, and Gary Zara, 240. John Powers, 261, and Gene Johnson, the tight end, at 227. So they do have size up front, and it is a very good offensive line. It is third down from the 36-yard line, and they need 5. As Leach goes back to throw, getting some heat, and down he goes. Back at the 24-yard line as 89 Phil Bennett fought his way through there along with Johnny Donahue, who chased him to the sideline. Texas A&M's defense does its job, and the Michigan punting unit will come on the field. Dropping back for Texas A&M, it'll be number 20, Darrell Smith. And doing the punting, it is John Anderson, who plays a linebacker on defense for Michigan. He stands at his 12. He'll hit it around the 16. He has the wind at his back. Line drive. Smith's got room. Slides down. 31-yard line. That's a 44-yard punt by Anderson with the wind helping him. 11:39 to go first quarter. No score. Not that much difference in the total offense average per game for the two teams. Differential of 15 yards, not all that much. Texas A&M getting the football at the 31-yard line, first down. Wishbone up tight, it is Woodard. Walker gives it to Curtis Dickey. And Dickey is up to about the 34 before Ron Simpkins, number 40, makes the tackle. Simpkins is the leading tackler for the Wolverines, a linebacker.
Simpkins was unblocked on the play at number 40, finally picks up Dickey on the counter play.
Call it a gain of 2 plus, just over 2 yards. Make it second down and a short 8. From just outside the 33-yard line of A&M. The pitch is outside to Dickey, goes to the tight side of the field. Simpkins comes over and makes first contact, and then Dickey is shoved off into the crowd. So they're going to the tight side, short side of the field, and leaving it off to the trailing back.
Here's Simpkins, number 40, again, playing the wide play out the line. The quarterback pitches, and he has Dickey at the boundary. Safety man helping.
At the 36-yard line, it is third down and 5 for A&M. No score. Both teams just kind of poking around, looking for a hole. Walker to throw. Comes straight back to the sidelines. Pass is incomplete. He threw it very hard. He had Russell McKeska over there and couldn't get him. Now let's check in with Bill Fleming.
All right, let's bring our viewers up to date, Keith, on what happened last night. Last night, Southern California defeated Washington 41-7. And Charlie White scored a couple of touchdowns, as you can see there, and had quite a night. Randy Simron caught a pass, the 28th consecutive one for him, a USC record.
Well, the Cougars of Washington State lose to the Trojans of USC. And David Appleby, who hit a 41-yarder into the wind his first time, doesn't quite get all of this one, but and he does not get a good roll on it either. It bounces back up the field, and Michigan will get the football at their 31-yard line, which is where they held Texas A&M a moment ago. That's a 33-yarder. Bill, more scores.
Yeah, well, last night also, Keith, BYU defeated New Mexico 54-19. And look at the stats on Gifford Nielsen, who was the second leading passer in the nation a year ago and figures to be the leading one this year. 19 out of 23, 5 touchdowns. What a night for him.
He must be averaging over 300 yards per game now. Really putting it up a lot. Here come the Wolverines now. Their second offensive possession out of the I formation. Leach rides it off to his fullback, Russell Davis. Pops in there. Gets it to the 34. That'll be 3.
A&M has played a 9-man line on first and second down in the other series, and then on third down they dropped off into a 4-man rush and 7 defend.
Into the lineup, number 84, Rick White, at a wide receiver. He rotates in and out of there with plays from the sidelines, with number 43 coming out of there, Max Richardson. And Leach comes down the line. Good penetration, but the pitch is outside to Huckleby, and a penalty flag is on the field as Huckleby gets up into first down area, but there is a penalty flag thrown back at the 37-yard line, and Bo Schembechler jumping up down on the sidelines. I think the line judge threw it, but it could well be a clip right there. holding.
That was the flanker trying to stalk block the cornerback. Delayed, it's a delayed play, the pitch, and he has to stay with him a long time. And you can see 84 trying to stalk block him and then cut him.
He reached in there trying to get a foot.
I'm not sure. Bo's arguing because he's not sure that the block was illegal. He didn't hold him. I guess he called Keith blocking below the waist.
That's probably what it was, and Bo is upset over the call, and
that'll fire his team up.
That flag might have been thrown against Bo. I don't know.
You can see the end blocking below the waist. It's a question of whether he made the contact above the belt or below the belt. This is to protect against injuries. The flanker cannot block within a 5-yard radius of the line of scrimmage below the waist.
All right, here's an unusual circumstance where the holding call is 15 yards and then an unsportsmanlike conduct call against the sideline, against the bench, and in this particular case, the coach, Bo Schembechler, and the ball is moved all the way back to the 11-yard line.
That's an unusual call early in the ball game. Usually they warn the coach. Split crew officials
from the Southwest and the Big Ten. So now Michigan's all the way back on the 11-yard line, and Rick Leach back to his goal line to throw. Gets it off over the middle. The pass is incomplete, intended for Harlan Huckabee. Over there defending for A&M, they had good coverage on it, was Jimmy Kucherek. And Kevin Monk and Johnny Donahue were both coming, and Leach had to unload it, otherwise they had him.
He was within one step of having a safety against him.
Kevin Monk, linebacker, who is one of the leading tacklers for Texas A&M.
He's blitzing, and he sheds the blocker, gets his hands up, and nearly gets him for a safety.
So now it is third down. Michigan has to go to the 41. So they need 30 yards from the 11. And encroachment by Texas A&M. Unless one of the Michigan offensive linemen moved, but Johnny Donahue, trying to anticipate the snap and read the count on the quarterback Leach, had jumped across the line of scrimmage beyond the neutral zone. And it'll be offside called against Texas A&M.
Leach staggered his snap count, and Donahue wasn't ready for it. He was going on the previous counts.
Kucherek goes out for Texas A&M, and Frankie Lemons, 217-pound sophomore, comes in at the defensive unit. This is the way A&M lines up defensively with Eddie Heath, Johnny Donahue, Steve Spitzenberger, and Phil Bennett. And the linebackers are Kevin Monk, Roderick Reed, and Kucherek, who just stepped out of the game for a moment. Mike Williams, Jimmy Hamilton, Kenneth Taylor, and Carl Grulich are in the backfield. And Mr. Grulich is a very good field general defensively for Texas A&M, and you'll see him before this day is over. He'll come too.
He solidified their defense last year.
Rod Feaster, a freshman with great speed, number 13, goes wide to the left. Double wide out for Michigan. Ball is at the 16-yard line as Leach goes back to throw on third down. He's going as far as he can for Feaster, and he missed him. Feaster was being covered by Jimmy Hamilton, number 44, and it looked like Feaster might have been able to outrun Hamilton down the sidelines. Leach couldn't hit him.
That's typical A&M defense, Keith. They think the rush is going to get to you, make you throw bad. You can get behind them, but completeness is another matter.
Okay, from the 16-yard line now, John Anderson comes in to punt, and number 19, Grulich, drops back deep. But the man behind him is the flyer, Darrell Smith. Now, if it's a short kick, it'll be Grulich. And if it's a long kick, as you would certainly expect, it would be number 20, Darrell Smith. Officials having called time for just a moment. I don't know exactly why. The temperature 53 degrees as we started the ball game, and it may go down with 9 minutes and 56 seconds to go. We still have no score in this first quarter at Michigan Stadium. John Anderson standing back inside the 5-yard line to punt. Now we're ready to go. One of the officials apparently has pulled a muscle or something, and it took a little time for him. Anderson drives it, and fumble, and Michigan's got a shot at it. The Wolves have got it. Max Richardson coming downfield on kick coverage, and Darrell Smith trying to field that line drive on the
big break in the kicking game. Look how it fires up Michigan, and you watch A&M take the field. Here it is, a replay. He just dropped the ball. He was charging into it, and it was a knuckleball, which is difficult to catch.
It is Michigan's ball. First down at the 45-yard line of Texas A&M. So the Aggie defense is being put to a test here in the first quarter with 9:45 to go in the first period. Rick Leach sets him, Davis and Huckleby behind him. And he gives to Huckleby. And the youngster out of Detroit is to the 41-yard line for 4 yards. Grulich, number 19, in white, coming up out of that safety position to jump in there.
A&M covers the offensive guards with their defense, and Schembechler says it destroys his reads, and he has to predetermine the calls on their option plays.
All right, wide to the right is Ralph Clayton, number 22. Rick White to the left. Might be an audible. Checked off. Throws it to the sidelines. The ball is dropped by Gene Johnson, the tight end, and he had some room. He did, for a fact, have a little running room on second down and 6. It'll bring up third down, and here's Bill Fleming.
All right, Keith, let's bring our fans up to date on the scores today, and we'll be showing you our operation here very shortly, but we have these up-to-date scores for you. From the East, of course, first, that was quite a ball game, as you remember, a year ago. Miami of Ohio over Yale, first quarter. Pitt is ahead of Boston College now in the second quarter. Clemson over Virginia Tech. And I think we have time for one more before we're back to play. Keith?
All right, Bill, it's third down and 6 yards to go, and Leach to throw. Looks for Clayton, hits him. First down. Michigan at the Texas A&M 28-yard line. Grulich made the stop. So Rick Leach finding Ralph Clayton in the middle, nailed him.
Offside.
Penalty flag thrown across the way. The play will be nullified. And they're calling offside, apparently, or illegal procedure.
That's a tough break. Had a first down in 4-down territory. Leach.
Referee is walking it off. So that's the third penalty in the ball game against the Michigan Wolverines for 35 yards. That's the kind of thing that's been bugging them all year, too, as a matter of fact, against Duke and against Navy. They had mistakes like this. They had turnovers and things like that, just enough to keep them from really untracking the offense.
Penalties demoralize your offense. You make a good play like that, and have a first down and the momentum, and you bring it back. Instead of 1st and 10 on the 30, you have 3rd and 12 on the 47-yard line. And the Aggies are tough on 3rd down.
Let's see what Texas A&M and White will do now. How many they might send. They line it up. They've got a 5-man front. Let's see who's coming, if anybody. Leach back to throw. There they put the rush on. The throw is over the middle, and it is too long, intended for Rick White. Defending on the play, Jimmy Hamilton. So Rick Leach is 0 for 4 in passing in the ball game. It brings up a 4th down, and John Anderson will have to punt. White was downfield, and he was again behind the defender for A&M, but the ball was overthrown.
He was 5 yards behind him, but the rush made Leach throw before he could time his pass.
Darrell Smith is standing deep for Texas A&M, saying, catch the ball, catch the ball, catch the ball. John Anderson to punt. A little better kick this time. Fair catch, waves his hands, and takes it right on the 10-yard line. So, Texas A&M with a goal line at their back. Get it first down at the 10 with 8:45 to go first quarter and no score. The Goodyear Blimp America with Captain John Moran at the controls, carrying one of our ABC cameras high above Michigan Stadium. First down A&M. At the 10-yard line, David Brothers is in the backfield, number 32. And George Woodard and Curtis Dickey. And Big George banging away inside, blocking for David Brothers. Total yards in this quarter, you can see, Michigan minus 22, but that's a result of the sack primarily. Second down, call it 6 from near the 15. Michigan almost jumped. In fact, I guess they did jump. Penalty flags are on the field as Steve Graves trying again to anticipate the count. The play goes over to the strong side for A&M as they operate out of that Wishbone, and let's see how the call goes. It is offside 5 yards coming against Michigan.
He staggered his snap count. That was the first time, and Michigan was going on the rhythm of the previous snaps, and they jumped off sides.
That is the first penalty called against Texas A&M. Bill, what you got?
Well, kind of a surprise here. Penn State started off to a 10-0 lead, but Kentucky's come roaring back. A 23-yard interception return by Dallas Owen. And then they intercepted another pass by Fusina and scored again. So it's 14-10 now. The Wildcats over Penn State.
All right, it is 2nd down and 1 for Texas A&M from the 19-yard line. They give it to Big George Woodard, and the fullback gets a first down for Texas A&M up at the 23-yard line. John Anderson, number 86, made the tackle for Michigan. That is the first down in the ball game.
The defenses are going to force them to throw the ball on early downs if they can.
Coming wide to the left side for Texas A&M is Doug Teague, number 84. Walker keeping outside to Dickey. It's Brothers, and David Brothers gets it up close to the 30-yard line. That'll be about 6, maybe 7 yards. So Texas A&M now beginning to get some movement out of its offense.
That was a triple option, and they ran into the split end and executed it perfectly.
Today, the farewell game of the most famous soccer player in the world from Giant Stadium, East Rutherford, New Jersey, on ABC's Wide World of Sports. Pele. We'll tell you more about it as the game goes on, and David Walker runs out of a tackle and gets loose on the sideline. And it's the first big gainer of the game as he is finally pushed into the bench by Derek Howard. He got away from Dom Tedesco behind the line of scrimmage. Tedesco had him, but Walker shook him off, and he ran for 21 yards. And for the first time today, Texas A&M has the football in Michigan country at the Wolverines' 49-yard line.
That was what we were talking about, a conservative quarterback. He could have fumbled when Tedesco hit him just as he came off the fake, but he just held his poise and scrambled loose and turned back out the back door.
First down Aggies, Michigan 49. Walker wants to throw it, throws it low. Throwing for Darrell Smith, number 20, missed him. There was good coverage for Michigan by Mike Jolly, number 16. To tell you a little more about what ABC's Wide World of Sports will be offering today, Pele will play one half with the New York Cosmos, the team with which he played in the North American Soccer League, and then he'll play one half with Santos of Brazil, the team that he led to so many dramatic moments in World Cup soccer. That's at 5 Eastern, 4 Central, and 3 Mountain Time today on ABC's Wide World of Sports. Pele, obrigado, you're quite a fellow. Walker hands it off inside, fumble, but A&M gets it down at the Michigan 41-yard line. Curtis Dickey following the ball as Woodard coughed it up, and the ball just happened to bounce right toward where Curtis Dickey was turning inside, hopefully to block. Suddenly he saw it loose, and he pounced on it, and it's 3rd down and 2. A&M still got it instead of Michigan having it. So when you make a funny-shaped ball like that, what do you expect? Huh? At the Michigan 41, 3rd down, 2 for the Aggies. Outside, bad pitch. David Brothers cannot get it as Walker threw it behind him. Ball goes out of bounds. It'll bring up 4th down and long, and obviously A&M will have to go to the putt. This is outside even the range of Tony Franklin because the football is marked back at the A&M 49-yard line, and they are facing into a rather brisk wind.
Keith, the cornerback fired, and Walker wasn't quite anticipating it, and he didn't see him and pitched very badly. That's the latest thing defending the wishbone, is bringing the cornerback at the quarterback.
Appleby in to kick for the Aggies. Jolly and Harden are deep for Michigan. Appleby's 3rd kick of the ball game. He's been over 40 yards on both of his kicks into the wind. Oh, good rush. Kick is away. A little acting job by Appleby. He knocks it out of bounds. Now let's see where they'll mark it as it goes into the Michigan cheerleaders. They'll bring it up to the 18-yard line where it'll be first down for Michigan. Tom Seabrun was the man who almost blocked that punt. See him come flashing into the screen here.
And it's not a penalty since he was blocked into the kicker. If he had hit him, the new rule says it's not a penalty.
I don't think he hit him at all, Frank.
No, he
I think
didn't.
Appleby was just doing a little acting.
Kickers are taught that. Academy Award sometimes.
33 yards on the punt that was sliced out of bounds. It's first down at the 18 for Michigan. No score, 6:20 to go, first quarter. Inside goes Russell Davis. And he gets maybe a yard as number 49 was right there to really pop him for Texas A&M. That is Roderick Reed playing the middle linebacker position. I was going over the roster. There are 4 players on the A&M roster from Louisiana, 1 from New Mexico, and I believe a freshman from Arkansas, and everybody else is from Texas. Second down 9 from the 19. Davis again inside, and this time they fumbled the ball, and number 10 is on it for Texas A&M, Mike Williams. There was some question as to whether or not the play might have been blown dead, but it had not been blown. And Russell Davis trying to struggle through on second effort. The ball was knocked loose from him, and Texas A&M gets a big break here at the Michigan 27-yard line. And watch Carl Grulich, fellow I told you, the safety man, who will come in and hit you hard. And he's the guy who knocked the ball loose. And then you see right there Mike Williams falling on it. And so the Aggies make a break and get a first down at the Michigan 27. George Woodard almost broke it. Almost broke it. He ran out of 4 tackles to get as far as the 16, very close to the 15-yard line, and a first down. So Big George almost had one. He's a little bit quicker than you think he is, and he is a great deal more mobile than you might expect from a man who weighs 273 pounds. First down at the 16-yard line. It is Woodard again to the 10-yard line. That time he ran through 2 tacklers to get the better part of 6 yards on the carry. We're working with 5 officials right now. One of the gentlemen was injured earlier. It looked like he pulled a muscle and had to leave the field. But that's what they used to use, 5.
Most coaches do.
It is second down and 4 yards to go for A&M at the Michigan 10. Walker rides it off to Woodard, and Big George is to about the 7-yard line before the Wolverines gang up on him with Graves, Simpkins, and John Anderson. And now the goal line defense going on the field. 2 more big guys go out there for Michigan. The football is sitting, let's say, the 8-yard line. Make it third down and 2.
When the wishbone team gets a little momentum, they're going to hand it off to the fullback most of the time.
They're playing on the right hash mark. On 3rd and 2. And David Walker says, as he turns to the referee, it's too noisy. That's poise in a senior quarterback.
That's exactly right. He could have hurt his chances to have a good takeoff by snapping the ball with a noise.
A&M with the first scoring opportunity of the ball game for either team, sitting down 3rd down and 2 at the Michigan 8-yard line. And obviously, if they should fail here, we'll probably see Mr. Tony Franklin. Well, the crowd's roaring, but they might as well quit it because Walker's not going to go until he's sure his people can hear him. Now he gets it, gives it to Dickey. And Curtis Dickey is stopped cold. John Anderson, number 86, linebacker, stepped wide and met him head on, getting help from Derek Howard, a cornerback. And that will bring up a 4th down and a yard. Franklin right there. Here comes Tony Franklin, who has hit 6 in a row. And last week against Texas Tech, kicked 4 field goals in the 4th quarter as the Aggies won a big ball game in conference play. His long one last week was 51.
If he had his preference, Keith, he'd rather be on this hash mark in the middle of the field. He's got to hook it all the way back to the left.
It'll be a 24-yard field goal effort. Remember, he has hit 6 in a row. Drills it. And it's good. He just cannoned it through. And so with 3:13 to go in the first quarter, the Aggies take the lead 3-0. The productive barefoot of Tony Franklin. Watch as he steps into that ball. He really swings that leg. He weighs 170 pounds. He is a hybrid soccer-style kicker. But he is not a pure soccer kicker and does not play the game.
A hybrid, that means he doesn't come from a steep an angle. He comes more from back of the ball.
Hits off the top of his foot more than from the inside of it. As he kicks off with the Aggies leading 3-0, 3:13 to go. And the ball is fumbled, picked up by Roosevelt Smith. And Smith pops it out of there. Smith brings it up to the 27, close to the 28-yard line, before Doug Teague makes the tackle for Texas A&M. So now the Michigan Wolverines, with 3:06 to go in the first quarter, with the wind at their back, have failed to come up with a first down. A couple of penalties have hurt them. And 2 back-to-back 15-yarders early in the ball game really did put them in a hole. So they haven't had particularly good field position. Once they did make the penetration to Aggie country, a penalty stopped them there. First down from the 28-yard line. Huckabee to the 30 for 2. It'll bring up second down and 8. Here's Bill.
All right, Keith, with 1:36 to go in the first half, Penn State has scored on a 29-yard pass from Chuck Cucina to Mike Gooman. And so Penn State's out in front, 17-14. We'll keep you up to date as that one goes on.
Tony Franklin on the sidelines getting the plaudits of his teammates as Rod Feaster, number 13, the young freshman, goes in, and he'll go wide to the open side of the field, and Jimmy Hamilton goes over there to take him on, eyeball to eyeball. Second down and 8 yards to go as Feaster comes back inside. Now Leach steps back to throws, and the pass is incomplete. Gene Johnson, the tight end, 6'3", 227. Leach put it on his hands. In the meantime, Feaster, who had come in motion back toward the snap of the ball, suddenly turned upfield, and he was gone.
He was in behind the safety. They mixed up their coverage and made a mistake. I think Leach is throwing a little bit too quick, Keith. He's not waiting until the man develops a pattern, and he therefore has to guess where he's going to be a little too much.
It is sort of a soggy day in Ann Arbor, Michigan. The wind is chilly. Double wide with Rick White and Kurt Stevenson to the left this time on third down and 8. Leach back to throw, 0 for 5. Dumps it off short to Huckabee. Harlan's out there all by himself trying to go for the first down, and he's not going to get it as the tackle is made by Johnny Donahue, number 73. He's 6'6", 254-pound junior out of Houston. And that big rascal has been all over this football field here in the first quarter.
He recognized the screen and broke on the pass and made the play.
So it brings up a fourth down and 3 for Michigan as we go inside 2 minutes to play. And Darrell Smith is back to accept the punt from John Anderson. This time Anderson really hit it. With the wind at his back, it goes way back there. It takes a Michigan bounce, and it's inside the 10-yard line. So John Anderson, who is also a starting linebacker, nails one for 46 yards with the wind, and he puts A&M in a hole. First down, Aggies just inside their 8-yard line. No place to get fancy on a wet day. So Big John finally hit one. It's kind of hard being a punter and having to play linebacker, too. I don't see that too much.
It sure is. You'd like to have a specialty that can concentrate on punting, but Anderson is a great football player. Bo says one of his best.
Smith comes wide to the left for Texas A&M as they'll start from the 8. And Woodard has it. And George just keeps on pounding. 273 pounds, and it's pretty hard to get him one-on-one. Meter and Simpkins, the tackle for Michigan. Woodard has carried 8 times, 41 yards, and here's Bill Fleming.
All right, a couple of quick scores here. Colorado jumping off to a 10-0 lead over Army. How about this one? Texas Tech is trailing North Carolina. The punter slipped and fell, and they recovered a fumble, and Carolina took it in.
Press Adamy doing the quarterbacking for Texas Tech in relief of Rodney Allison, who was injured in last week's A&M game. The carry by Woodard gets the ball out across the 15-yard line. They're going to be looking at third down at about 2.5 with Steve Graves making the tackle. He's a senior out of Cleveland, Ohio.
Texas A&M's offensive line are getting some forward movement, and Woodard is getting started. They can't tackle him low after he's downfield.
Third down and a long 2 as we look down from the Goodyear Blimp America. Now it goes to Woodard. The Wolves gang up on him, and they stop him short of the first down. So David Appleville will have to come in as Bo Schembechler is wanting a timeout, and there's good reason for it because they want to stop that clock with 26 seconds to play in the first quarter. And figuring they're going to get decent field position, they'd like to have at least 1, maybe 2 plays with the wind at their back. Next Monday night on ABC's NFL Monday Night Football at 9 Eastern, 8 Central, and 7 Mountain Time. 2 great teams renewing an old rivalry, the Oakland Raiders, who are something these days, and the Kansas City Chiefs. Oakland, of course, the Super Bowl champions, defending champions, and Kansas City slow to untrack this year, but there's a lot of potential in that ball club. So join us at 9 Eastern, ABC's NFL Monday Night Football over most of these ABC stations. Scores coming in out of the Ivy League now, and Bill gave you that score on the Penn State-Kentucky game. You saw Penn State last week, Frank. You kind of liked them, didn't you?
They had a good ball game. Fusina is one of the best quarterbacks in the nation, and they have confidence. And as Bill Fleming said, they threw for 2 interceptions, but they still came back and hit another touchdown pass. They believe
North Carolina State there, hanging on to Maryland, and North Carolina leading 7-0 over Texas Tech. As time is out down on the field, Michigan spending a timeout in order to get 26 seconds use of the wind advantage here in the closing seconds of the first quarter.
A third down play that usually the conventional call is go to the tight end, but they went to the split end, and the defensive end crashed and stopped Woodard before he got started.
All right, Appleby is in to punt now. He had a 33-yarder under a big rush, and there's a 7-man front for Michigan, but this time Appleby really hit it. Beautiful kick into the wind. Going back is Jolly. Jolly gets a block. And a penalty flag thrown back downfield. Might have a clip. Might have a clip. That ball hung a good 4 seconds, a little over 4 seconds for Appleby. And so far the wind hasn't bothered him that much. That one big rush by Michigan bothered him some, but that time he really nailed it. He hit it 53 yards into the wind, and it is a clip against Michigan.
You can see the cornerback coming in and hitting the A&M man from the rear. Unnecessary because it did not enter into the play.
The man who got clipped was, I think it was number 50 for Texas A&M.
Penalties and fumbles have kept Michigan in the hole the entire ball game.
Penalty against Michigan for clipping. The ball comes back to the 16.
All the way back to the 16-yard line with 15 seconds remaining to play in the first quarter, and you can see we haven't had all that many yardage numbers to worry about, do we? Back at the 16. First down, Wolves. A&M crowding. Leach comes down, hands it off inside to his fullback, Russell Davis, who pumps it up to about the 20-yard line as the clock is running again and ticking away the final seconds of the first period. With a score, Texas A&M 3, Michigan nothing. The first quarter is over. The first quarter numbers, you see no yards passing at all for Texas A&M. Michigan got 6 yards through the air, and the total yardage 72-18 in favor of Texas A&M. It is second down now, and 6 yards to go for Michigan as Leach goes to throw, runs away from the pressure, gets his pass off. The pass is complete to Ralph Clayton, number 22. And it's good for a Michigan first down up around the 33-yard line. Now, Clayton, remember, caught one earlier from Leach. It would have put Michigan in threatening position, but it was nullified by penalty. This time, no flag.
Leach was forced out of the pocket, and he scrambled and made a fine throw and a good catch by Clayton.
Define for me, Frank Broyles, what A&M is doing now with their defense.
They cover their offensive guards and free up the linebacker, middle linebacker, where he can go with flow and they get no one to block him.
Out of the I formation, first down Michigan from the 34-yard line. And up the middle goes Huckabee. And Jimmy Hamilton stopped him. If Hamilton misses him, he's gone. First down, Michigan.
On the replay, it was
Earl Grulich there.
Their safety man that solidified their defense last year. Here's Muck. It was a misdirection play. Muck was supposed to get him in the backfield. Grulich comes up, and Huckabee goes right by him. A little help from the officials.
Get out the way. First down at the 46-yard line for Michigan.
I told you 5 officials was too many.
Huckabee missed by a man. Penalty flag. We may have another call coming against Michigan right here. Mike Ken had peeled back. The quick tackle had come back to help block, to do the lead blocking for the trailing back on the play, and in the process, the penalty flag fluttered into the air. And there's the conversation to the referee to define the penalty from the line judge who threw the flag.
This is a special play that Schembechler added, a tackle pulling, blocking the cornerback, and obviously he's not accustomed to blocking real quick defensive halfbacks. The big play up the middle was a misdirection, and that was a misdirection option. That is to hold and freeze the middle linebacker so that they can set their blocks and have a chance to make some yardage.
So Michigan continues to make mistakes. They came into this ball game with 126 yards of penalties, and they're piling them up again today. 15-yarder for clipping. The ball is all the way back at the Texas A&M 39-yard line. They've got to, the Michigan 39-yard line. They've got to go to the Texas A&M 36-yard line for a first down. A&M is leading by a score of 3-0 with 14:05 to go in the first half. Leach keeps. Wants to throw. He has a man. He didn't miss him. He put it right on the numbers, and Rick White jumped up in the air, and the ball bounced right off his chest.
It's a good throw by Leach, a difficult throw all the way across the body to the far side of the field. Very, very dangerous.
Had a chance to pull this one down.
You can see the wide receiver, 84, hooking, and if he doesn't come back to the ball towards Leach, who's thrown across the green, could have been dangerous. Right on the chest and off. Cradle it in.
Texas A&M has been hit with 5 yards of penalties so far in the game. The Wolverines, 67 yards. It is second down and half a mile from the Michigan 39. Leach to throw it, as far as he can, and Clayton is the deep man running under it. It is overthrown, incomplete, with Kenneth Taylor, Mike Williams going back for A&M. So they tried to shoot Ralph Clayton, who's 6'3", 211-pound sophomore out of Detroit. They had him deep, but Leach missed him. And so that'll bring up third down.
It's frustrating when you can get people behind them, but the rush doesn't let you set up and throw the accurate pass.
3rd and 25 now as Richardson goes in at a wingback position for Michigan, replacing Clayton. Obvious passing situation as Grulich drops off. Now he moves over to the center of the field to play center field defensively for Texas A&M. And now time is going to be charged to the Michigan Wolverines as Rick Leach comes to the sidelines to talk. Texas A&M leading 3-0, 13:54 to go, first half. With 13:54 to go, you're looking down on about 102,000 people, I suspect. I don't know how many chose to stay home today and skip the rain, but not very many, I can tell you that. There aren't many empty seats. It is third down and 25 for Michigan from their own 39-yard line. A&M leading 3-0, and Leach wants to put it up again. Down the sidelines, and it is incomplete. The pass thrown for the tight end, Gene Johnson. He had pretty good coverage that time from Jimmy Hamilton of A&M. And so Michigan unable to move the football through the air as Leach now has gone 2 for 10 and 19 yards.
Johnson, number 88, is running a deep pattern. He wanted to throw back, but A&M shifted their defense, and the tight end's not going to defeat the halfback very often, and the pass was incomplete.
And it's punting time with John Anderson dropping back. He'll be kicking to Darrell Smith deep for A&M. He goes into the wind, gets a pretty decent kick out of it. Smith calls fair catch in a hurry. Back at the 19-yard line, there was very good coverage downfield for Michigan. That's a 42-yard punt by John Anderson into the wind. So as John's last 2 kicks have been very strong. Texas A&M gets the ball, first down, at their 19-yard line, and Auburn leading Ole Miss by a score of 7-3 in a ball game down the Southeastern Conference. There are 2 teams there. They've been sort of up and down, haven't they?
Yes.
At the 19 for the Aggies, first down. Give it to Woodard. And you can hear the sound all the way up here as he bangs into Ron Simpkins and Jerry Meter. And he moves the ball from the 19 out to the 22 for 3 yards with David Brothers, Curtis Dickey, and George Woodard lined up in that wishbone behind David Walker. You can see the time running there, and that's time to go in the first half. And the yardage so far in the ball game A&M yet to move the ball through the air. 2nd down and 7 yards to go for the Aggies from the 22 as Woodard's got it again. Runs into the stack and gets out to the 26. They'll need 3 on 3rd down.
Too many, fellas, too many. Come on, bro, head up.
A&M is not going to take a chance with a 3-0 lead. Michigan hadn't made a first down. They're going to run Woodard and try to punch out a first down.
Well, last time George went for the first down on 3rd and short, Michigan held it. This time Warpro put it up and misses his man. He had Russ McKiska, 6'3" junior out of Temple, Texas, the tight end, had him wide open.
That was a drop back pass, and he fanned everybody out of the backfield, and the end curl, he was open. Now Appleby has the wind to his back.
See what he can do now. Appleby with the wind at his back as they send Harden and Jolly deep for Michigan. Appleby last week had a 63 and a 59-yard pair of punts with a little help from the wind. Oh, shanked it. Dead cold, shanked it out of bounds. Not much on that one. Oh, me. On ABC's Wide World of Sports today at 5 Eastern, 4 Central, and 3 Mountain, a tribute to Pele, the farewell game of the world's most famous soccer player from Giant Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey. He'll play a half for the New York Cosmos and play a half with Santos of Brazil over most of these ABC stations.
Soccer's turned the corner in this country, I believe, Keith.
Yes, sir, I think it has. And he is greatly responsible for it, including those who paid the money to bring him here. 14 yards on that punt by Appleby. He shanked one last week for 11. Handed off to Harlan Huckleby. And coming up out of the secondary, it was Grulich 19, Roderick Reed 49, and Kucherek number 7.
Grulich is a safety, but he's a linebacker for the Aggies. He'll tackle up at the line of scrimmage if you run in the middle.
Three to nothing, Texas A&M leading Michigan. The football is at the Aggie 38-yard line. 2nd down and 8. The pitch is to Huckleby outside. And he gets it to the 35, and that'll do it. Carl Grulich making the stop for Texas A&M with a little help from Mike Williams, number 10.
Grulich was lined up on the weak side over the tight end. Here he is. Watch him sprint all the way across, and what we coaches call he filled the gap inside like a free safety should. He solidified the A&M defense last year. They lost 2 ball games early with another free safety on the passing game. When he came in, they have not lost 6.
It is 3rd down and let's call it 5 yards to go from the 35-yard line of Texas A&M. Leach to throw, has Clayton and missed him, and it's almost intercepted by Jimmy Hamilton. Hamilton had it in his hands.
Hamilton played that beautifully. He covered the deep man until the ball was thrown. He released, and it was thrown right to him. But when you're coming into the ball, it's kind of a shock to you sometimes.
Now Michigan will go for the field goal into the wind. Greg Wilner, 156-pound junior out of Miami Beach, Florida, will kick it from the 42. That is a 52-yard try. If he fails, it'll go to the 20. And he will fail. Shanked it off to the right side, and so Texas A&M's defense owes Michigan take over the football at the 20, leading by a score of 3-0.
Southwest Conference has posted an intersectional record of 13 victories and 7 losses this fall. In its first 62 years of major college play, the Southwest Conference has had only 7 losing seasons when it lost more games than it won in intersectional competition.
Those numbers reflecting the situation for Michigan insofar their passing attack is concerned, but A&M is yet to get any yardage out of the air. They take it up inside, and this time the Michigan defense is sitting right in there with Jerry Meter jumping on George Woodard with help from Ron Simpkins. I don't believe George got quite to the line of scrimmage. He certainly didn't get much more than that if he did get back. Indiana, look at there. Oh, hello. What about that one, Bill?
Well, the Indiana Hoosiers scored on an 80-yard drive, so it wasn't any fluke, and Scott Arnett went over at 9:08 to go in the first quarter. So now with 7 minutes to go, it's still 7-0 Indiana.
course, Indiana down 21-10 against LSU in the opener, came back with 2 fourth-quarter drives to beat the Tigers. Walker keeps on the option, gets around the corner, and gets it out to the 29-yard line. He'll need 3rd down, and he'll need 1 yard, as Tom Seabrook, linebacker, made the stop for the Michigan defenders.
That was a triple option, and he optioned the cornerback there. In blocked the defensive end. There was over him, and he went all the way to the corner. The corner took the pitch man. He turned up for yardage.
Neither one of these two teams has converted a 3rd down, right? Mike Swanson keeping our stats for us today, and they're both 0 for 6 on 3rd down tries. So let's see what happens here on 3rd down and 1. This time Big George Woodard doesn't have all that far to go. You got to figure he's going to get it, and so does the Michigan defense. The 2 linebackers pinch in there. They give it to George, and he comes right up over the top, and he's got a 1st down for Texas A&M, and that's the first 3rd down conversion we've had, as he went behind Cody Rison, the left tackle, and Ed Pujovsky, the left guard. Has a little muscle there, 253 and 239 pounds respectively, and Woodard weighs 273. I would think an offensive lineman would just going to get out of his way. Don't fall on me, George.
The old joke, I'm getting out of the way, Woodard's coming.
Yeah.
Don't know what you're going to do.
Don't step on me. 33-yard line, 1st down for A&M, and Walker gives it into Curtis Dickey, and 4 times in the game now he has come down the line on the option, and each time he's given it off to Curtis, he's given it to him right on the sidelines and no room to run.
Right on the boundary where Curtis could not use his speed. He's an explosive football player, and in most of the games this year he has broken for a long run, and he will in most games.
What's the rationale now to keep running him into the tight side?
They're going to have to put the tight end into the field and the split end into the boundary and getting the ball wide.
2nd down. He did get yardage on the play, though, moving it from the 33-yard line out to about the 37. So let's make it 2nd down along 6. Walker back to throw. Goes to the sideline to David Brothers at the 40-yard line. Brothers catches the ball for a gain right about 3 yards. Tackle was made by John Anderson, linebacker, who was right there. And 9 minutes to go in the first half. It is 3-0 ball game with Texas A&M leading on the field goal by Tony Franklin. He hit a 24-yard field goal in the first quarter.
Most of the time, too, Keith, the ball has been on the hash mark that forced Dickey to run the ball into the boundary.
3rd down. They need almost 4 yards. They go to Woodard, and George is close to it. He pounds out to about the 44 before the Wolverines can drag the big guy down. And it's close.
The spot's favorable, so he looked like he made it.
They'll bring the chains on to make sure. As the Michigan defensive captain says, let's not guess, let's make sure. Today on ABC's Wide World of Sports, Pelé. A salute to Pelé. That is not his name. That is a name that was derived from the Portuguese phrase which says, kick the ball with your foot. And Lordy, has he ever done it, huh? I wonder if he'd like to use a little college eligibility maybe somewhere in...
I was going to ask, wonder if he's in any college before.
And try this game, at least the kicking part of it. It is 1st down for Texas A&M by the length of the football at the 44-yard line. Aggies leading 3-0. 2nd quarter. Woodard inside. This time he gets a good stick right at the line of scrimmage from John Anderson. Anderson brings him down. If you're able to get him right on the numbers and put that helmet right on his numbers, then you have a decent chance to hold him, and that's exactly what Anderson does here.
Anderson, number 86, controls the end, shucks him, and the defensive tackle had built a hole and forced Woodard to break to the outside, and Anderson is a fine football player.
And it's 2nd down and 10 for Texas A&M. Take it inside to Woodard again. Aggies are leading 3-0, and they're just playing very conservative football. With the wind at their back, if they can punch it on down the field a few more yards, then Tony Franklin will again be a factor. Woodard has carried 17 times already in the game for 65 yards. And we're coming up now on 3rd down and 7 from the 47-yard line of A&M.
Michigan has not stacked their defense inside, and therefore they're staying inside with Woodard.
3rd and long. Walker throws. Ball comes squirting out of the hands, and an incomplete forward pass intended for David Brothers. Couldn't hold it. David Walker got a calling card that time from Tom Sebron, who was penetrating from the defensive side, and with the football sitting back at the 47-yard line of Texas A&M, the kicking team is on, the punting team. Appleby shanked one 14 yards last time he kicked. Harden and Jolly deep for Michigan.
Conventionally, he'll step towards the middle of the field to prevent that.
High hanger. And it's in the end zone. Hung it up there almost 5 seconds, riding the wind. 53-yard punt. Michigan gets it first down at the 20. And here's Mr. Clement.
All right, there's a lot of interest in this game going on now. It's South Bend, Indiana, Michigan State with 5 minutes and 46 seconds to go in the first quarter. Got a 38-yard field goal from Nielsen. And so the Spartans are ahead of Notre Dame, 3-0 in the quarter. And the weather is just about the same as it is here.
Which means it's a little dank and a little cool.
Little foggy.
Yeah. First down, Wolverines at the 20-yard line. The handoff goes to Harlan Huckabee, and he is twisted down at the 22 by Rod Reed, junior from Aldine, Texas.
It was a straight flow play, and no one can block him on this type of play. The guards are covered, and the center has to get him, and he can't snap the ball and block the middle linebacker. Jackson was a great linebacker last year, is one of the best that we've seen in our part of the country.
Great football player he was, wasn't he? He gets cranked up, he'll be all right in the pros, too. He quits being hurt. 6:25 to go first half. Aggies leading 3-0. They give the ball off to the fullback, Russell Davis, and he blows it up the middle for a first down as he crosses the 30 to the 32-yard line, and Carl Grulich made the stop. So Grulich comes up to get the Michigan fullback.
Their safety men really play like a linebacker. If that tight end blocks, he is going to support, and he makes a lot of tackles. Some of his free safeties have made 20 tackles in a ball game, and Grulich may do it before this game is over.
Go back to the original point we made in the pregame program that the key man for Michigan against the kind of defense that the Aggies play has to be Russell Davis, the fullback. He's got to get yardage up the middle. Keep those linebackers at home. They give it back to him again. The ball's fumbled. Texas A&M's got it at the Michigan 36-yard line. A hard hit at the line of scrimmage. The ball came loose, and Jimmy Hamilton was all over it. Roderick Reed, I believe, is the man that knocked him loose. That is the second fumble by Michigan, and the second time Jimmy Hamilton has jumped on the ball.
The middle linebacker can make a lot of tackles. No one blocked him. He pursued to the all-tackle hole and stuck his headgear right on the football.
So Michigan turns it over again with 5:55 to go. You don't figure that A&M will come up empty on this possession because from here they've always got Franklin. But let's see what they do in the first 3 scrimmage plays. On first down from the 36-yard line, they give it a big guy in the middle. And George Woodard gets down to about the 30-yard line for the better part of 6 yards. 71 yards so far for George Woodard, and Colorado leading Army 10-0. I thought perhaps the Buffaloes might go in there and jump all over the Cadets, but Lehman Hall and company hanging in there well. Second down and 3 yards to go, and Woodard dives, and he's just short. They need about 4 yards on that carry, and he's going to be now on a third and what appears to be about 1.
They're trying to just bend their defense. They have still yet to stack in the middle to try to stop Woodard, and A&M very wisely just continues to hand him the ball.
Get the ball, defense, get the ball.
Say again, George was in the hospital earlier this week with an intestinal infection. They were scared that it was appendicitis, but it wasn't. They give it to him. He's outside. He's got a first down, and he's still going all the way down to the 16-yard line. He ran through 2 tackles to get, which is below normal, really. Body fat. Whoop, ball fumbled, but it's still loose. Michigan's got it. At the 19-yard line, Ron Simpkins recovers it for the Michigan Wolverines. And so Texas A&M turns it over when it looked like they might punch it in. And with 4:39 to go in the first half, the Michigan defense stops the Aggies. Or I should say the Aggies stopped themselves on that play.
Here there's linebackers pursuing down the line. Ron Simpkins gets the football. The defensive end blitzed and hit Walker before he was ready. And this is most unusual.
David Brothers took a dive for the ball, but it squirted away from him. Simpkins got it, and it's first down Michigan at the 19. Fullback Davis. Russell's up to the 25, the 6 yards. Roderick Reed and Kevin Monk, linebackers, make the stop, 49-45 respectively. There are the turnovers as far as fumbles are concerned in the ball game.
Michigan's a little bit out of character. They hadn't established anything. They've been jumping around from play, misdirection, and other things.
Other scores rolling in from the Ivy League, as you can see. Princeton and Brown are scoreless, or 2nd down and 4 now. Ball given up the middle to the fullback on a quick snap. And he's stacked up by the middle of the Aggie defense. Just a big surge behind Walt Downing, Greg Bartnick, and Mark Donahue. Is short of the 1st down. The football should be up around the 28-yard line, which means they'll need about 1.5 yards. Miami, Ohio, and Yale got decent sort of a ball game going, don't they? Dartmouth leading Boston University, and Pitt leading Boston College. Panthers scored 76 last week against Temple. 3rd down, 1.5 yards. Leach turns, gives it outside to Huckabee. 1st down, Wolverines, as Harlan Huckabee takes it up to the 40. And there's a face mask call coming up on the sideline as the Aggie defender, Mike Williams, trying to get Huckabee to the sidelines, I think inadvertently got a hold of the face mask. And if so, that'll tack on 15 to the gain.
That was a good call by the Michigan quarterback, Leach. A&M was in a goal line defense. The linebackers could not help outside. Leach took the ball to the cornerback and pitched off of the cornerback.
Now you see here as Williams is trying to get him out, he reached up to grab a hold of whatever he could get a hold of, and unfortunately it was a face mask. And that's now a 15-yard penalty for the Aggies, which means 2 penalties and 20 yards called against them in the game. Michigan now with a 1st down at the Texas A&M 45-yard line.
There's another shot at it.
Leach gives it quickly to Davis. Russell Davis. Oh, my. Without Carl Drulick reaching in there to trip him up, he might have been gone. It's another 1st down for Michigan as he reaches the Aggie 34. So now they're beginning to get a little bit of yardage out of Davis up the middle. He now has 9 carries and 52 yards in the game.
This will keep those men honest in the middle, and they can't jump around and help on other plays. Bo said this was the key to winning the ball game for him.
Texas A&M leading 3-0. 3:05 to go. 1st half. Not much out of that one. As Leach, junior out of Flint, tries to draw it up the middle.
That was the trap option, and the cornerback was 5 yards in the backfield on the trailing halfback.
Numbers on Russell Davis, number 33, as Max Richardson, number 43, goes into the lineup, bringing a play from the sidelines, replacing Kurt Stevenson, who comes out. Richardson goes wide to the right now on 2nd down and 9 from the Aggie 34. Huckabee, no sir, no indeed. Fine defensive play by number 48, James Zachary, a sophomore from Midland, Texas. North Carolina State and Maryland still all even in the 2nd quarter. Texas Tech and North Carolina at halftime with Carolina holding the edge. The Blue Devils are jumping on Navy. Navy losing last week to Michigan 14-7. Having a little trouble with the Dukers this week, aren't they? West Virginia over Virginia 3-0. Eugene Sanders now in a defensive end for Texas A&M. As White goes in motion on 3rd down and 8, Leach throws it. He has a man wide open. The pass is caught by Doug Marsh. And Doug Marsh takes the football inside the 10-yard line, and a penalty flag was thrown. So Doug Marsh makes the catch. A sophomore out of Akron, and there is a penalty. It might very well. It is a face mask against Texas A&M. That is the 2nd face mask in this march by Michigan against A&M. Another look at it.
It was a crossing pattern with a tight end crossing away from the fake. A&M reacted towards the fake, and the receiver's wide open, and the clock is working down to 1:33 to go, and a penalty.
Jimmy Hamilton really had him with a face mask. He really had a grip, didn't he? The ball is inside the 5-yard line, just inside the 5. And it's first and goal to go, Michigan. So 2 face mask penalties against Texas A&M and the pass by Michigan. And the Wolves now with a chance to take the lead. Davis, touchdown. Doug Marsh and Mike Ken opened the door, and a piece of hard, tough running by Russell Davis, and Michigan is on the board.
Individual effort by Davis on that play.
Well, if you're going to get 30 yards of penalties and come up empty, you ought to have your rear end kicked. That time they came on down there and stuck in the end zone.
And the penalties gave a chance because we're running out of time. Only a minute and 29 seconds left.
Wilder is in to try the extra point. Got it. 1:29 to go in the first half of play. Michigan's offense finally moves a little bit, and they take the lead over the Aggies 7-3. Curtis Dickey, bottom of your screen. Darrell Smith, top of the screen. Deep men for Texas A&M. Wilder will kick off for Michigan. Wolverines go 81 yards to score and lead 7-3 in the closing moments of the first half. It is Curtis Dickey at the 8. Bumped out of bounds. Coming downfield in a hurry, Mike Hart will pop him out. One more look at the Michigan touchdown, and watch the good solid running here of Davis.
Davis was determined on an individual effort as a safety man. Hit him at the 1, and he spins and goes in. He was not to be denied. He is the key, according to Bo Schembechler, if Michigan to have any offense today.
The football belongs to Texas A&M now, just short of the 20-yard line, with 1:26 to go in the first half. They're down by 4. Woodard hit at the line of scrimmage, breaks it out of there, and George gets 4 out of nothing. And stomps his feet in disgust because he had a lot of daylight in front of him if he could have bounced off one more man.
Michigan was playing deep for the pass, and it was a draw play, and he had some running room. He could have gone 15 yards before a Michigan player would have come into the picture.
The clock is running, coming up on a minute. Woodard, 89 yards in the first half on 21 carries, just short of the 24. Second down and 6. Walker on a long count. Gives it again to Woodard. George up to the 27-yard line. Curtis Greer, 95, making the stop.
A&M doesn't have the sophisticated passing attack keys to make a big effort here. 80 yards away. They don't want to go behind 14-3, and they're going to try to run it down to where they can throw maybe a pass or two right before the half.
Well, the clock is still running as we go inside 30 seconds in the first half. One more play, and that might do it. If they could hit a pass and get Franklin down there with the wind at his back, who knows what he might do. He has kicked a 65-yarder. They're not going to throw it. They give it to Woodard, and he bangs away for the first down and gets it across the 30 to the 31. That'll stop the clock with 13 seconds to go in the first half as they move the chains, and it looks like A&M just don't let it run out.
Let it run out. They know they're going to call timeout, I think, and probably throw deep one time. Hope to get a pass interference. If they do, then they can kick a field goal.
David Walker coming to talk to Emory Ballard. A&M pretty well dominating the early going in the ball game, but coming up with only 3 points. And then the Aggies, defensive mistakes, 2 face mask penalties, accounting for 30 of the 81 yards Michigan traveled to get the go-ahead touchdown.
Crossing pattern to Doug Marsh was the key in that drive.
Next week, on our presentation of NCAA football, got a good one. From the Memorial Coliseum in Los Angeles, we'll have at 3:30 Eastern, 2:30 Central, and 11:30 Mountain, Alabama, the Crimson Tide against the Southern California Trojans. Trojans last night beat the Washington State Cougars 41-7. And next week, we'll see the team that some of us think may be the best team in the country take on the Alabama Crimson Tide. Bear Bryant, I understand today, was going to start 2 freshman defensive ends. So he's still fooling around with his defense, trying to settle it down. And he'll need all of it next week, I suspect. First down, Texas A&M That is Curtis Dickey on a sweep to the right. Not much there as the clock is rolling again with 5 seconds to go in the first half, and looks like they'll just let it tick away. And they do. So at the end of the first half, the score, the Michigan Wolverines 7, Texas A&M 3. Bill Fleming now looking for Bo Schembechler to see if he can get a word with him. And it'll have to be a quick one because this is a man who wants to spend as much time as he can with his team.
He needs to get that offense on track.
7-3, Michigan leading the Aggies. And we haven't had the kind of performance or the opportunity so far by the kickers that we expected. Yeah, here's Bill.
Okay, we've got just a minute with Bo Schembechler. Bo, is it the kind of first half you thought it was going to be?
Yeah, it's a tough game. I don't like the penalties and fumbles. But other than that, it's a wild hitting game.
How about Woodard? Is he as good as you thought he was?
He's tough. You got to stop him. He's awfully big.
Okay, best of luck in the second half. All right, the word from Coach Bo Schembechler. And, of course, we're going to be back here with more halftime activities as well as the Fireman's Fund flashback after this word about a new upcoming ABC show.
Provides education to nearly 46,000 students a year while reaching far beyond its 3 campuses. Law students from the main campus in Ann Arbor give free legal service through a pioneering child advocacy project with the schools of medicine and social work, bringing effective help to victims of child abuse and neglect. Dearborn students and faculty created a nature trail for the blind in the campus environmental studies area, extending outdoor experiences of those with impaired sight. The Flint's new Riverfront campus is expanding the university's existing educational service in Flint while enhancing downtown renewal efforts. The university's Industrial Development Division has gone to northern Michigan to plan a program to attract industry and create new jobs. And it's working in central Michigan to explore uses of waste wood for energy and more employment. The Extension Service reaches an international audience, joining other university units in hosting problem-solving conferences that send Michigan expertise around the world.
Father of the wishbone offense. Coach, give us your impressions of the first half.
Well, defense has been dominating both sides thus far. From our own standpoint, I think our defense has played well, with the exception of the one drive where Michigan took the football after a recovered fumble, went down and got their touchdown just before halftime. Offensively, we've had several opportunities. We haven't done anything to take advantage of them, and we've had some plays. Had we made them, we'd been in a lot better shape than we are now, but we didn't make them. And we're going to have to start cranking up and getting after it.
I'll tell you one thing. Everything they've said about George Woodard is true. He's tremendous. He's a tank.
He's a big, strong boy. Yeah, we need more than that, though. We need to start getting some overall execution.
You know, you've had a lot of receivers open. Does that bother you a little bit that you haven't been able to hit them?
Well, certainly it bothers me.
Okay, Coach.
Yeah.
I guess it would. Let me just give you a quick score here. Kentucky now has gone ahead of Penn State 24-20 in quite a ball game. And we'll keep you up to date on that as the afternoon progresses. But that's it from the sidelines. Let's go up topside once again with Keith Jackson and Frank Broyles.
All right, Bill, thank you very much. Of course it bothers me.
Penn State 24-20 in quite a ball game. And we'll keep you up to date on that as the afternoon progresses. But that's it from the sidelines. Let's go up topside once again with Keith Jackson and Frank Broyles.
All right, Bill, thank you very much. Of course it bothers me. Going into the third quarter of play, Michigan leading Texas A&M 7-3. And the Goodyear Blimp America with John Moran carrying our ABC camera up there. And Marvin Bader is the cameraman sitting up there on a cold, sort of windy, wintry afternoon. I think this is... Well, I'm sure the coach sitting over here would say, wow, this is football weather. Yeah, well, it's cold, is what it is. Michigan's going to kick off. Texas A&M will receive.
Neither coach realizes it's cold.
No,
their blood pressure is high.
Wilner kicks it. It goes to Curtis Dickey at the 5. Got a hole. And then it closes as Harden comes over to get him. Mike Harden. So let's set up the Michigan defense for you now for the Wolverines. These are the guys who play up front. Curtis Greer to tackle. Steve Graves plays that middle guard position, and Chris Godfrey is the other defensive tackle. The linebackers are Ron Simpkins, Jerry Meter, Dom Tedesco, who'll go up to an in position as well as a linebacker, and John Anderson, an outside linebacker, will also step into an in position. On first down for the Texas Aggies from the 32-yard line. Big old George Woodard carries it one more time. A junior from Van Vleck, Texas, closing in on 100 yards in the ball game so far. And the ball sits now at the 35, second down and 7. Defensively, Michigan has Mike Jolly at a halfback, Derek Howard at a halfback. Dwight Hicks, number 17, is playing the safety, and James Pickens is the free safety. And on second down and 7 yards to go. Not much there that time as Woodard carries, and number 99 was right there, Dom Tedesco, a linebacker, and he whopped him right on the line of scrimmage. And it is third down and 7 yards to go. Offensive backfield for A&M, David Walker, the quarterback, Curtis Dickey, David Brothers, George Woodard, and Darrell Smith. And Curtis Dickey is hobbling off the field right there. You can see it looks like he might have hurt an ankle or a knee. Looks like an ankle, and he goes to the bench. The offensive line, Cody Rising, Ed Pajovsky, Mark Dennard, Kenny Kirk, Frank Myers, Russ McKiska up front for the Aggies. Third largest crowd in the history of Michigan football here today, 104,802. Adger Armstrong is in the wishbone backfield now for Texas A&M, and David Walker back to throw, gets it off, and he completes the pass to Armstrong. And Adger Armstrong trying to cut back, slips and falls. And a penalty flag is thrown. The flag is thrown on Mark Dennard, the center, number 68, and I'm not really exactly sure why.
I think he clipped.
He was tangled up out there a little bit with Steve Graves, the middle guard, so apparently there was a clip called. As Graves was coming, and then the center for A&M, Dennard, had pulled out and come toward the sidelines, literally trailing the runner, and the flag was thrown at him. So you see Dwight Hicks, who is the wolf man, talking to the referee there to make his decision on what sort of dispensation we will have here insofar as Michigan's decision is concerned, and I'm sure they'll take the penalty because it'll probably be 15 yards.
He had 4th and 3.
You'd rather have 3rd and a half miles.
3rd, yeah.
So that football goes all the way back inside the 18-yard line. Clip was called. Smith comes in, number 20, running through your picture there. Where it is third down for the Aggies. They've got to go to the 42 to get a first down. Let's call it 24 yards. Walker gives it away inside. David Brothers and Adger Armstrong, and see if Dickey came back in. Yes, Dickey was back in the backfield, carried the ball there. So it brings up 4th down and long, and David Appleby comes on the field now. He'll be kicking well back in his own territory, and the wind is quite brisk. I see they've taken the flags down around the stadium. I guess they're going to save them for another time. The wind really whipping up on the top rim of the stadium. Harden and Jolly are the deep men for Michigan. Snap is on the money. Big rush. Kick is away. Kicker went down, but nothing called. A great punt. Jolly has it. And he brings it back about 8 yards. Comes back to the 33. That was a 52-yard punt by Appleby, and he's arguing a little bit with the referee back there. But the referee pointed, you know, and he said, now watch, your foot was down, young man. There's no penalty involved. But a 52-yard shot by Appleby. His leg was down. Simpkins came in to pressure him.
Very close call.
Ball is at the 34-yard line of Michigan. First down, Wolverines. Their first offensive possession, second half. They lead 7-3. Rick Leach with Russell Davis and Harlan Huckabee behind him. Gives the ball to Davis. Davis hits it over the 35 to the 36 for 2 yards. Texas A&M lining up defensively this way. Eddie Heath playing at the defensive end. Johnny Donahue's played a good solid ball game in the middle, along with Steve Spitzenberger, Phil Bennett, the other end. The linebackers are Kevin Monk, Roderick Reed, and Jimmy Kucherik. Give you the backfield in a minute. Second down and 8 yards to go for Michigan from the 36-yard line. It's Davis again, and Russell Davis gets to the 42. He'll be 2 yards short of the first down. The A&M defensive secondary sets up this way with Mike Williams, a cornerback, Jimmy Hamilton, the other corner, Kenneth Taylor, the strong safety, and Mr. Carl Grulich, the free safety. The way he plays, I think you ought to call him Mister.
He's all over the field.
Offensive unit there sets for Michigan that way with Richardson alternating at that wingback position with Clayton. Second down, third down, and 3. Middle linebacker almost jumped offside. Did not, however, as he got back in time, and Leach going down the line was run down by James Zachary, the man who almost jumped offside. He's active, isn't he? Zachary, yes. Where's he from? He's the sophomore out of Midland. Very quick.
They were in a stacked defense, and he came clean as they cross-charged in the middle.
And it brings up a 4th down, a loss of 2 yards on that play, on the sack, and it's punting time for Michigan as Anderson is in. A low line drive to Smith. Got nothing but blue shirts around him, and down he goes at the 25. That's a 40-yard line drive as Walt Downing, the man who snapped the ball, was downfield to make the tackle. 11:10 to go, third quarter. Michigan leading 7-3 over the Aggies. Duke is beating Navy 28-10. So Navy came in here against Michigan last week, had a big effort, losing 14-7, and today they're getting whipped by the Blue Devils of Duke. And Charles Howard, of course, is dancing down in the truck. Our producer is a Blue Devil. And he'll tell you all, oh, the ball is loose. Curtis Dickey picks it up and makes something out of disaster. Mike Jolly shoving him out of bounds. That's the kind of a ball rolling around on the ground with a fella trying to pick it up. Very oftentimes you'll see him kick it, mess around with it, and somebody else will get a hold of it. But this time it stayed still long enough for Curtis to get it.
As the artificial turf makes a difference in picking the ball up.
And so instead of a big loss or perhaps loss of the ball, he picks up 7 yards to make it 2nd down and 3. A short 3. George Woodard bangs it over for the 1st down as George gets it to the 37-yard line. Now Woodard, 26 carries, and he has now gone over 100 yards in the ball game. 102 yards for the big Aggie fullback.
Michigan's linebackers, Keith, are 5 yards deep, still using them to protect wide and help on Woodard if he breaks the line of scrimmage.
1st down, Aggies, 37. Right it off to the big fullback, Woodard again, and the ball comes loose. It's Michigan's ball. Don Tedesco comes up with it. So the Aggies turn it over at the 40-yard line. Their 3rd fumble in the game.
Michigan has not been able to capitalize on their mistakes except for one time, that long drive. Aggies will be coming on this down.
10:42 to go. Michigan gets the fumble, gets the ball at the Aggie 40. Outside to Huckabee. And he's shirt-tailed by Carl Grulich, coming all the way across the field to drag him down. Getting a little help from number 10, who was over there, but Grulich's the man and ran him down. 59 yards for Huckabee now on 11 carries. Advance of the ball to the 35. Watch Grulich, 19, come all the way across the field to make this tackle.
He fills inside, but Huckabee breaks outside of the cornerback, and he changes his pattern and pulls him down.
2nd down, 4. Just inside the Aggie 35. Davis. Gone. Almost. Number 16, Kenneth Taylor. Dragged him down from behind. 1st and goal to go. Michigan at the Texas A&M 5-yard line. Mark Donahue, big number 60, an All-American guard, makes a heck of a block here to open the door right there. He went 2 white shirts out of the play.
He went right out the back door. A&M was in an odd front. They were trying to cross-charge. The guard picked up the linebacker, and Davis broke right out the back door away from the green. away from the flow.
30 yards for Davis. Total of 92 in the game on 13 carries. It's first and goal to go Michigan at the Aggie 5. Davis to the 1. Perhaps the 2. That time he took it over the right side, running behind Greg Bartnick and John Powers. Michigan having lost 2 of their strong tackles going into the season, Giesler and Dufek. That's been a troublesome spot for them. John Powers, a sophomore out of Oak Park, Illinois. Filligan now at 6'3", 261. On the 2, second down, goal to go. Leach at the goal line, just short. Jimmy Hamilton and Carl Grulich stop him from going in.
Grulich's turned him back towards the Michigan goal line. It is really close. He looks like he has running room, but Grulich comes up from the outside at the top of the screen and turns his head back to the goal line.
Kevin Monk just missed him. Might have had him right about the line of scrimmage. Third down and 6 inches. Davis. Touchdown. Russell Davis takes it in. He has scored both of the Michigan touchdowns. He was the wheel horse in the game plan. And for the first time in the game, really, the Michigan running game looks to have some authority.
They're getting a little movement with their offensive line. A&M has been going into an odd defense trying to stunt, and it's hurt them.
Is that a bad snap or a fake? Bad snap, I guess, as Kurt Stevenson tries to come up with it and do something with it. So the extra point try goes awry with 8:44 to go third quarter. Michigan 13, Texas A&M 3. Getting ready for the kickoff. Out to do the kicking, LeBun for Michigan. Nick LeBun kicks it off. Curtis Dickey almost steps out of bounds, tries to turn it back in, now goes to the sidelines, and he's hit up around the 19-yard line, out of bounds. And Mike Harden and Nick LeBun knock him out. Here's the touchdown as Davis took it in to give Michigan a 13-3 lead.
You can see him go under and dive underneath the legs of the offensive lineman who got a little movement forward.
The extra point now, here's the ball. It just slipped through the hands of Stevenson, and he got up trying to make something out of it and could not, as Jimmy Hamilton was right there to bring him down. So that's where we are, 13-3, the Aggies ball. First down at their own 18-yard line. Into the middle goes Woodard. And he's across the 20 to the 22 for 4 yards. It was Woodard's fumble that stopped A&M a while ago after they picked up a first down. And the game between the Yankees and the Tigers, with the Tigers leading 4-1 in the third inning, still being held up by rain in New York City. Yankees trying to win a game and trying to win the American League Eastern Division. May have to wait one more day. Walker back to throw, wants to throw it short, throws it short, intercepted and dropped. Dom Tedesco had the ball in his hands and dropped it. Steve Graves was the man putting the pressure on David Walker. And so the defensive linebacker who had stepped up into that short zone, Dom Tedesco.
He diagnosed that screen and just charged out towards the back and was standing right in the line of flight of the ball.
They had offensive linemen downfield. They had that thing well set up to be blocked downfield, too.
They made over 100 yards on that play against Texas Tech last week.
Third down and 7. Pressure coming from the outside. Linebacker Jerry Meter. And Walker is decked. And the Yankees have to kick it deep in their own territory with 8:06 to go in the third quarter. So Texas A&M yet to find the spark to get them moving in the second half. Michigan right now is red hot with 104,802 people screaming. And the bulk of them are Michigan people.
Number 46 scrapes off to the outside. The Aggies don't see him. They sent 5 receivers out, and he's unblocked and too late.
Appleby in his end zone. 7 men up front for Michigan. Appleby's kick is away. It takes an Aggie bounce. And it rolls dead at the Texas A&M 49-yard line. A 39-yard punt into the wind. And so here's Michigan leading by 10, 13-3. With 7:33 to go in the third quarter. They have momentum on their side. He's wearing blue right now.
A lot of momentum, and the fans are helping them. That's the big advantage of playing at home. They prolong your momentum and make it very difficult for the team to change it, the visiting team.
Rick White, 84, comes out of your picture, wide receiver to the open side of the field. Russell Davis and Harlan Huckleby behind Rick Leach. It's Davis. And he gets down near the 46 before Gary Milligan makes the tackle for Texas A&M. Bill Fleming, what do you have for us?
All right, Keith, we have a score here at halftime. Notre Dame 10, Michigan State 3 with 2:39 to go in the half. Notre Dame scored on a 56-yard drive with sophomore running back Dave Mitchell going over. He was the hero of last week's game, of course, against Purdue. So at halftime, and that big one down at South Bend, Notre Dame 10, MSU 3.
Feaster is in, the freshman speedster. Leach hands it inside to Russell Davis, and Davis has just gone over 100 yards in carrying the ball with 2 touchdowns. 107 yards now, 2 yards, 102 yards for Russell Davis on 17 carries.
Big play coming up, 3rd and 3, momentum in their favor. Another first down would give them a chance to put some more points on the scoreboard.
And comparing the 2 fullbacks in the ball game, you see that Woodard has been busier. Davis more productive on the number of carries, and especially when it comes to the points. 3rd and 3, and Leach coming along on the option. Unloads to Huckleby. And no place for Huckleby to go. As Roderick Reed, a linebacker, flowing with the play, came up. As Eddie Heath came in and put the heat on, and Reed gets up a bit gingerly there. As you can see, he laid a hard hit on Huckleby. And Huckleby, with his great speed at 197 pounds, is not an easy fellow to handle.
Aggies played that option beautifully. The quarterback pitched way before he got to the defensive end, and the Aggies outnumbered him on the corner.
John Anderson to punt. Darrell Smith deep for Texas A&M, and it's almost blocked. He just barely got that thing away. And it's a fine kick for Michigan. Rolls dead inside the 10 at the 8-yard line. Bill Bennett almost blocked it. With 5:36 to go in the third quarter, 13-3, and we've got a timeout.
Excitement can be found at 472 NCAA member institutions. See one of these Division II games next week. Jacksonville State at Tennessee Tech, Northwestern Missouri State at Southwestern Missouri State. Or one of these Division III contests, Baldwin Wallace at Wittenberg or Hobart at Rochester.
Here's John Anderson's punt now, and watch Bill Bennett come flashing into the picture.
He evidently was untouched by Michigan linemen and came very close to turning this ball game around.
Aggies now back on the 9-yard line. First down, and they give it to Woodard. George tucks it away and bangs it out to about the 11 for 2 yards. It'll be 2nd down and 8. Bill?
Well, there is a final in now. Kentucky has upset Penn State today, 24-20. The turning point game when Derek Ramsey, the quarterback of Kentucky, took it in toward the end of the third quarter, and the Kentucky Wildcats held on to win it.
There is a surprise. Curtis Dickey, sweep to the right. Not much. Michigan defense is just storming now.
Michigan linebackers are still playing deep and pursuing outside with a lineman covering for the inside, giving an extra man if A&M takes the ball wide at the corner.
Curtis Greer, 95. Ron Simpkins, 40. On the tackle for the Wolves. Ball is out near the 11-yard line, where it is 3rd down and about 8 to go. Michigan leading by 10, 13-3. And coming up on 4.5 minutes to go in the third quarter.
Never gave that. Give me the details on it.
Walker gets it off to the sidelines. Hits David Brothers. He's pushed out at the 15. That is short of the first down. Good defensive play by John Anderson. And Texas A&M has to kick, and 104,000 folks are standing cheering the Michigan defense.
That chill bumps go all over you. Those Michigan players have got to be fired up and adrenaline blowing.
The pressure now will be on David Appleby and the Aggie defense. Appleby again will go to his end zone. And he'll kick it to Jolly and Harden. No rush. Good kick. Beauty. Jolly at the 39. Stumbles. Gets a little bit out of it. That is a 50-yard kick. So 4 times in the game, David Appleby has kicked it 50 yards or more. On ABC's Wide World of Sports today at 5 Eastern, 4 Central, and 3 Mountain. The farewell game of the world's most famous soccer player, Giant Stadium out of East Rutherford, New Jersey, Pele. He'll play a half with Santos of Brazil, his original team, the team that he grew up with, and play a half with the New York Cosmos, his team in the North American Soccer League. Pele leaves as an active competitor after today. Rick Leach rolls out from the 46, throws it deep for Clayton, and he can't get it. Defending Jimmy Hamilton. So Ralph Clayton going down the sidelines on a straight fly pattern, couldn't quite get it.
Hamilton had him covered all the way, man for man, and playing him deep, giving him the short.
In the fourth quarter, Texas A&M will have the win. In the fourth quarter, last Saturday night at Lubbock, Texas. I guess it was Lubbock, wasn't it?
Yes, they played in Lubbock.
Tony Franklin kicked 4 field goals in the fourth quarter. Second down 10 from the 46 of Michigan. Outside Huckabee. Hamilton's after him. He's got a first down. Huckabee had 1 man to get by Hamilton.
That was a little crisscross pattern, and the safety was covered in man for man. He just couldn't get there. In fact, the safety came in with the wide receiver breaking into the middle. Left him wide open in an uncovered zone.
And it's first down Michigan at the Texas A&M 39-yard line. Michigan on the move. They have dominated the third quarter.
The Aggies hadn't been out of their end of the field.
Davis. And Russell Davis, the fullback, hits it to the 35 for 4 yards. Kevin Monk, a senior out of Seguin, Texas, makes the tackle. Have a look at him.
Monk is a typical Aggie linebacker, pursues all the way across the line, fields inside. Well, good linebackers should go towards the line of scrimmage and not tackle out the line, and he knocks Davis right back towards his own goal line.
Second down, 8 from the 37 of A&M. Leach to the 35 for 2, yard and a half. It'll bring up 3rd and long. 3rd and a very long 6.
Aggies have been tough on 3rd down.
Program, a special exclusive of ABC Sports. Let's pause 5 seconds to allow our local stations to identify themselves.
This is WXYZ TV, Channel 7, Detroit.
3 minutes to go in the third quarter. Michigan holding the ball at the Aggie 35 on 3rd and a long 6. Leach going for Stevenson. He's out there. He's got it. He's got a touchdown. He beat Jimmy Hamilton. Trying to blow it open here in the third quarter. Lead 19-3. Wilner for the extra point try. It is good. With 2 minutes and 44 seconds to go in the third quarter, it's now Michigan 20, Texas A&M 3. They lead 20-3. The Aggies are in trouble. The ball is hooked into the end zone. No, apparently it went out of bounds. So if that's the case, they'll bring it back and kick it from the 35. There's the touchdown as Leach threw to Kurt Stevenson. He got behind Jimmy Hamilton, looked the ball all the way into the numbers, squeezed it, and scored it.
Stevenson runs a post route, and Grulich, the free safety, was covering Huckabee in the flat. Hamilton just hesitated, and Stevenson got behind him. And the ball was right on the button. This is the 4th time they've been behind the Aggies, but the first time they've connected.
You know something? There'd been a penalty thrown on that anyway, because actually he got a hold of the face mask. But we didn't get a flag on it. Michigan didn't holler because they got the touchdown and the extra point.
And Stevenson is a walk-on?
Yeah, he showed up one day in the Southern California area, and he said, walked out, stuck out his hand, and said, "Coach, I'm going to play for you."
Bo said, "Get out of here."
Well, he wasn't see, you coaches can be wrong, you know.
He gave him a big hug when he came off.
Problem is, you can't open them up, you know. You don't know what's inside of them. And some of these young fellas show up with a fire burning in them, and they're gonna do what they say.
He ran a perfect post route. He faked outside and came inside of the defensive halfback and ran him to the pole.
5-yard penalty. LeBun kicks it off. Short kick. It goes to Smith up on the 14-yard line. Oh, he almost was cut in half as number 42 came down, Gene Bell, and just missed him. And the tackle was made by Tom Sebrum. And the beautiful collie from Bryan, Texas. Among those on the Aggie side of the field, they brought 60 people. Dog didn't count. Ball's out on the 32, and now the Aggies have got to go. Scores in from the Ivy. Here's a final for you as Brown wins. John Anderson is the coach, as a matter of fact, up at Brown. We've got a John Anderson playing right here. Columbia, Colgate, winning their game. It's first down for the Aggies at the 32. They're trailing by 17 points. Outside Dickey. Great play by number 17, Dwight Hicks. Sort of a look what I found. He was knocked down, but he had the presence to reach out, and he got him.
This is what we call a kamikaze. The cornerback comes and collisions the halfback, gives himself up and tries to get the ball carrier too, and he did. That was a gamble that Bo made in moving Hicks to the Wolfman. But it paid off on that play.
And it's second down. And about 17. They send Woodard up the middle, and George is from the 25 up to about the 29 for 4 yards with Curtis Greer reaching in to get a hold of him and bring him down. Now they're looking at third down, and it's quite long. They've got to go to the 42 from the 28. It's 14 yards approximately with a minute and 40 to play in the third quarter, and the Wolverines leading the Aggies 20-3. Walker's pass. Brothers can't bring it down. Derek Howard defending for Michigan. Looked to me like that ball was pretty well on the numbers too, but their brothers couldn't bring it down. And Pittsburgh, I'll tell you, the Panthers got their act together now, don't they? Matt Cavanaugh, incidentally, has been working out, and he's expected back in time for the Florida game in that one.
That's what he predicted.
Clemson's a whole lot better than a lot of folks thought. Apparently so is Duke.
All these Michigan fans are inspiring this football team.
On fourth down, it is Appleby in the punt, and Michigan should get the ball in decent field position. Appleby's been over 50 yards 4 times today, and that's a relatively short kick. Coming up in a hurry is Michael Jolly, a defensive back who goes deep to receive the punts. He handles it surely after a 31-yard kick by Appleby, and Michigan has it first down at the 40.
That was a gutty play by...
Look at here, Auburn beating Ole Miss 14-6 at halftime.
Auburn upset Tennessee last week.
Georgia Tech winning one today, beat Air Force 30-3. And Tennessee running all over Oregon State at halftime down in Knoxville. And Notre Dame over Michigan State at halftime 10-3. First down Michigan at the 40. Leach gives it to Russell Davis. And Davis gets 4. Tackled by Kevin Monk. You see the time running out. Washington leading Minnesota 10-7. Golden Gophers pulled off one last week, beating UCLA. Purdue, the young fellow Herman, the freshman quarterback up there. He must be something.
He's going to be a sensational football player.
Must be. I'd like to see it.
6'5".
Is he really?
How about Gifford Nielsen again?
Yeah.
11 touchdown passes in 2 weeks.
Stevenson wide to the open side of the field. Ball's almost in the middle of the field. Leach rolls back looking for Stevenson, going at him. Can't quite get this one. Ball's kind of slipped out of Rick Leach's hands, and when Stevenson went through the secondary that time, he drew a crowd. There were 3 white shirts going with him.
Rulich was back on that play. He didn't have man-to-man coverage. He was free safety and covering deep center field.
Leach now 5 out of 16, 92 yards, and the touchdown. With 40 seconds to go, clock stopping on the incomplete pass. Stevenson coming out at the wide receiver position. The football is resting just short of the 45, and it's 3rd down and 7. Leach will put it up, throws it short, and it bangs off the helmet of Steve Spitzenberger, defensive tackle, senior out of Houston. That'll bring up a 4th down, kicking down for the Wolverines. And here's Bill Fleming.
All right, Keith, Oklahoma is leading Kansas by the score of 10-0. Mistakes have hurt Kansas. An interception in the second quarter, and Tom Lott ran 7 yards, and then Von Schaumann kicked a 35-yard field goal after a Kansas fumble. So the number 2 ranked Oklahoma Sooners leading in the third quarter, 10-0.
Von Schaumann.
Let's see how many Aggies are coming this time. There are 8 of them up there.
Michigan is counting them off, too.
Here they go. No, sir. Got it out of there. Cannon shot by Anderson into the end zone. 56 yards. It'll be Texas A&M's ball. First down at the 20. With 29 seconds to go in the third quarter. The Aggies will have the win in the fourth quarter. Made that point before, and it might prove to be important.
With a man named Tony Franklin, it can be. But A&M has had no success passing. That's the surprise to me.
Aggies come up now on first down. Walker to throw. A lot of time. Throws it right into the hands of Hicks. The Wolfman picks it off, and Michigan is back in business. First down at the Texas A&M 23-24-yard line. Walker had all day to throw it. And Hicks stepped right in there and was Johnny on the spot.
Is he happy? That was a fake of an option play, and a little bit surprised because Michigan did not take the fake. They were playing for a pass, had many men in the secondary, and he threw it right to Wolf.
So the senior from Pennsauken, New Jersey, playing a new position, comes up with a big play for Michigan at the, call it the 24 of Texas A&M. Huckabee. Huckabee is down to about the 17-yard line. ABC's NFL Monday Night Football this coming Monday, 9 Eastern, 8 Central, 7 Mountain. The Oakland Raiders and the Kansas City Chiefs, 2 great old ball clubs renewing their rivalry. And after 3 quarters of play here at Ann Arbor, Michigan 20, A&M 3. We go to the final 15 minutes of this football game with Michigan leading Texas A&M 20-3. Texas A&M 11 yards in the third quarter as Michigan has just totally dominated since halftime. And Michigan has the ball, second down, and 3 yards to go. The ball is at the A&M 18-yard line. Contact along the line of scrimmage. Unless there was contact made by one of the Aggies, the penalty will go against Michigan.
Michigan's offensive lineman moved after taking his position.
That will make a total of 8 penalties and 77 yards against the Wolverines. They only had 30 penalties whistled on them all of last year. The third quarter numbers in the ball game. And Michigan just taking over the ball game in the third quarter. 243 total yards now, though the time of possession is relatively even.
Michigan surprised everybody in this third quarter. The Aggies are in a state of shock.
Second down and 9. Leach. It is complete to Clayton. Ralph Clayton is drilled on the numbers, and he comes up with the ball, beating Jimmy Hamilton. So now Leach is beginning to pick on Hamilton a little
bit. On the replay, Keith, Hamilton had the ball. Look here. I believe he had the ball, and Stevenson reaches in and pulls it away from him. No, it slides loose, And Clayton gets it before he hits the ground.
Almost an incomplete pass, almost an interception, but Clayton comes down with it, and it's first down and goal to go. Michigan at the A&M 8-yard line. Leach outside, Huckabee running for the corner. Got it. So with 14 minutes and 29 seconds to play in the football game, Michigan is blowing it open, 26-3. Greg Wilner for the extra point out of Kurt Stevenson's hold. Good. (27-3). Here's Bill.
All right, thank you, Keith. Many of our viewers might like to know that we have quite an elaborate setup of telephones to all the press boxes every Saturday afternoon here on NCAA football. We have phones to Norman, to Austin, the phone to Boston College today, and also to Notre Dame to bring you up to date with the very latest information on all these scores, and we hope you enjoy that particular service that we give you. I'd like to mention here that this crowd of 101,000 plus is just one of 7 sellouts this year. At halftime, I touched a little bit on the economic picture. I think it should be mentioned that Michigan splits evenly with all of its opponents, and so a couple of weeks ago, Duke took $250,000 back to Durham, as will the Texas Aggies. In fact, it's so desirable to play in the Michigan Stadium that both Duke and Stanford have requested that their home games over the next couple of years be transferred here to Ann Arbor because of the tremendous amount of dollars they can take back with them. All right, let's go, Keith.
That's called bottom line, isn't it? LeBun kicks off and kicks it out of bounds, and it'll be 5 yards marked off against Michigan. The worst defeat that an Embry-Bellard football team has had put on it was up to now, anyway, was back in 1975 when Frank Broyles' Arkansas Razorbacks beat the Aggies 31-6. There's the scoring drive for Michigan, 3 plays, 24 yards. And they lead 27-3 with Curtis Dickey and Darrell Smith deep. And that incredulous look there, I'm not sure whether it reflects the wonder of what Michigan is doing or the disappointment of what's happening to the Aggies.
I was amused a little bit. They're moving the ball over to kick to Smith, not to Dickey. The kickoff before the last kickoff, they moved the ball over a little bit, and I saw Bull run out and tell him, kick the ball away from Dickey.
Well, he hits it at Smith again. Darrell comes up on the 20. Gets across the 30 to about the 32. Now with the wind at their back, the Aggies will get it. If there's an advantage to be had, they better do a whole lot of getting to get back in the ball game.
Wishbone is a tough offense to play catch-up. Darrell Royal told me, he says, I don't want an offense that I'm planning on playing catch-up. I want one to get me ahead.
Put it on the 31-yard line. First down for Texas A&M.
Won't be much good here because the clock's working in Michigan's favor.
Woodard's got it.
Except on a draw play.
Well, he almost got outside again, but number 40 Simpkins came over along with John Anderson. Down he went. Well, Bo's a little more passive now than he was at the initial outset. Remember, early they had a 15-yard penalty call against the Wolverines. Bo got in the act and immediately got a flag himself. But
he's an intense person.
Yes, he is. Second down and 7. Walker in trouble. Steve Graves, middle guard, number 54, senior from Cleveland, Ohio, 6'1", 218.
I don't want to play catch-up against the Michigan team with this much quickness and speed.
Michigan is a very difficult football team to handle. They are as quick along the trenches as any team I think I've seen this year.
They're not the biggest Big Ten team, but they have the quickness that makes good defensive football teams.
Losses back to the 24-yard line. Third down and 18. Walker's got to throw. Down he got away from one, but now he's gone. Number 95, Curtis Greer was shooting, and messed up the play for him, and then Tom Sebring got the tackle. And David Walker is jarred considerably.
The triple option is so difficult to execute. It takes so many repetitions in practice that you have very little time to work on pass protection.
David now beginning to walk a little more on his own as he leaves the field. And Appleby is in to punt with Jolly and Harden deep for Michigan. 12:40 to go in the game. Michigan about to get the ball back in pretty good field position. It's blocked. It is caught. It is a touchdown. Number 18, Jim Pickens takes it in. It was blocked by Simpkins. In the second half. The kick by Wilner is good. With 12:33 to play in the ball game, Michigan has blown it open. 34-3. Watch this as Appleby steps into the ball. Number 40 Simpkins comes flying through, and then Jim Pickens, number 18, gets the ball in the end zone, and the Wolverines have scored on the block punt.
It looked like Appleby juggled the ball here a minute. He took an extra step and gave them time to get in position to block it.
Probably wanted that extra step to try to get more leverage into it, too, to get him out of a hole. And it blew up in his face. So Greg Wilner will put it on the tee and kick off this time. LeBon's had a little trouble keeping the ball in the field of play with the kickoffs here in the second half. And Michigan, 34-3. I'm surprised.
I am too. Oh, he's kicking it to Dickey.
At the 1. A fumble. They knocked it loose, but the Aggies get it back. So Curtis Dickey almost turned it over to Michigan inside the 15-yard line. On ABC's Wide World of Sports, following the ball game today, we'll have the farewell game for Pele from East Rutherford, New Jersey, as he plays a half for the Cosmos and a half for Santos of Brazil. Final competitive performance in this country, at least, took Pele, and perhaps the final anywhere. Mike Mosley is in at quarterback now for Texas A&M. From the 13-yard line.
Listen to these fans. The score's 34-3. They're going wild.
They're cheering, we're number 1. They were for 2 weeks, dropped to 3rd last week. Who knows? USC last night defeated Washington State 41-7. Oklahoma is leading Kansas 10-0. And right now, Michigan's in the process of routing the Aggies. Mike Mosley, a freshman from Humble, Texas, 6'2", 176. The Michigan team now asking this crowd of 104,802 to just settle down, let's finish the ball game, and then we can go out and have a party. That's what happened last night as USC defeated Washington State. Charlie White had a big night. 128 yards and a couple of scores. Next week, USC and Alabama from the Coliseum in Los Angeles. That'll be a barn burner. Mosley hands it off inside, and the play's good for about 7 yards as Woodard gets it up to the 20. And it'll bring up second and about 3. Number 75, Kenny Kirk, getting up very slowly. Junior out of Austin, Texas, from having thrown the block.
Keith, we were talking earlier about Michigan having a psychological advantage going into this ball game.
A&M hasn't crossed midfield in the second half.
Michigan has dominated both lines of the scrimmage.
Mosley keeps it, gets his first down as he comes up to about the 25, crossing to the 26. Tom Tedesco Number 99 making the stop for Michigan. So it has to be an absolute state of shock on the Aggie side of the field.
Capitalizing on their mistakes in this third quarter, but in the third quarter.
At the 25 of A&M, Aggies have a first down. Dickey up to the 30 for 5. Bill?
All right, Notre Dame is leading Michigan State by the score of 13-3 in the third quarter. Bob Golick intercepted an Ed Smith pass at the Michigan State 30, and then Dave Reeve kicked a 40-yard field goal.
Who's quarterbacking today? Is it Montana?
We'll check on that, Keith.
Be interesting.
Good question.
Joe pulled one out for him last week, didn't he? At Purdue. All right, it's second down and 5 for Texas A&M. Woodard. Oh, Big George got a first down. Again, he almost popped one, and this big guy's got enough speed. Once he gets out there, he's hard to catch.
He can run for the score. He has this year and other years, too. This is a tough position to put a young quarterback, freshman quarterback, Mark Mosley, in the ball game, but he was a highly recruited youngster, the #1 quarterback in the entire state of Texas, where they have 1,100 schools playing football. That's mean 1,100 quarterbacks.
See Woodard now at 138 yards in the game. Mosley gives it to Dickey. And fumble. Had they blown it dead? 49 with 10.5 minutes to play in the game. 6-2 in turnovers now.
It was reported Woody Hayes pulled the back out of the game that fumbled against Michigan, shook him and said, "Son, it's better you not been born than fumble against Michigan."
All right, the Wolverines up by 34-3. Trying to do something else as Leach sets him in there and gives to Huckabee. And he is down at 45-44. Bill?
Hey, what's happening, Bob? Hi, Bob. Start today, Keith. Montana started the ball game and has played the entire way at quarterback for Notre Dame today. Also, let's take a look at this score here. Nebraska and Indiana. Nebraska leading 17-13 in quite a ball game. 3:21 to go, third quarter.
Hoosiers are tough. Second down, 3. And it is good for the first down as Roosevelt Smith, number 26, is now in at the tailback position, a 5'10", 198-pound sophomore out of Detroit. A couple of young men from Detroit City running out of the tailback position for Michigan, and both of them doing pretty well. Now, first down at the Aggie 35.
This Michigan team is fighting to regain that #1 position. I'd hate to play a team that's just been moved out of the #1 place in the polls.
Kevin King is now in at fullback for the Wolverines. He just carried the ball, and he stuck his head in there and got about 3 yards to near the 32.
Michigan's defense has played tremendous football.
Really have.
This is the difference that maybe some people didn't count on, that Michigan's defense could hold A&M as they have.
Rick Leach comes off the field and gets a standing ovation. And a hug from the boss.
You can see why Bo Schembechler is so high on Ricky Leach.
Make it second down and 8 yards to go. Brian Dickey, number 6, is the quarterback, a freshman from Ottawa, Ohio, and Roosevelt Smith carries the ball, the players of the future for the Wolverines. It'll bring up now third down after that short gain and about 6. Remember, today on ABC's Wide World of Sports at 5 Eastern, so long, adios, vaya con Dios, obrigado, salute to Pelé. One of the most dramatic sports personalities of this era. 34-3, Michigan leading, and 8:25 to go, and the handoff goes to Roosevelt Smith, and he's going for a first down at the Aggie 23-yard line. Michigan now just rolling.
The momentum is there, and these 3-yard gains are now 7- and 8-yard gains, and Roosevelt Smith is one young man that Bo Schembechler says has a great future here in Michigan. He's getting a taste of what it's like with 104,000 people cheering you on, even though the score is 34-3.
First down, Aggie 23. Brian Dickey running the ball club. And off his into the middle. Some of you may wonder, especially those of you around Camden, New Jersey, about Stacy Johnson, who is listed as the number 2 quarterback for the Michigan Wolverines. Stacy's had some trouble with his leg. I saw him yesterday. Says he feels pretty well, and he's about ready to get back in there and start playing. Ralph Clayton, number 22, goes into the huddle now. And Feaster comes out at a wide receiver spot, and Clayton is going wide to the right on second down from the 20. And 7 to go. Dickey gives it to Smith, and fumble, and the ball goes loose in there, and the penalty flag goes right in with the ball. So let's hold everything as John Arbesnik came up with it for Michigan. Looks like it might go against the Wolves. In rushing in this half, it is a holding call against Michigan, as you can see. The Wolverines have gone for 105 yards on the ground. The Aggies have managed only 36 in the second half.
And they've had great field position. This entire second half has been played in Texas A&M territory. When they made a mistake, they were in scoring range and 4-down territory each time the Aggies made a mistake, and they were able to capitalize on it. A coach's dream is to play the ball game on their end of the field, make them handle this light range.
Next Saturday, the Alabama Crimson Tide against the Southern California Trojans at 3:30 Eastern, 1:30 Mountain.
Has John Robinson done a great job?
Oh, and he's got some pretty good-sized folks to work with, too.
And a class individual.
Dickey to throw it. And a penalty flag goes down. It'll be thrown on Mike Williams. He was trying to defend Rod Feaster. Pass interference is called.
The defensive back completely beaten. He knew it was a touchdown. He turned and grabbed the hold of him, and 5 officials saw it. We didn't need that 6th one. I still say they called too many fouls anyway. Penalties. It was a sure touchdown, and the defensive halfback just turned and grabbed the hold of him.
7 minutes and 11 seconds, and they're bringing it back. Let's get the definition here. They're bringing it all the way back up the field. It is not pass interference, apparently, against Texas A&M. It indicated personal foul somewhere here.
Now, if it's not offset fouls,
I think that's what it is.
Then we're in trouble with the college rules.
Offsetting penalties. Personal foul and pass interference. So they bring it back.
I did not see the other flag. Did you, Keith?
No, didn't. They'll mark it now back at the 35-yard line, where it will be second down for Michigan. They've got to go to the Aggie 13 for the first down. So they need 22 on second down. Dickey will put it up. Wants to screen it. Gets it to Smith. And, well, he ran out of the arms of one Aggie. Kevin Monk couldn't hold him. And he made a little bit on the play, but not all that much, as Jimmy Hamilton came up to make the tackle along with Steve Spitzenberger. And the Michigan reserves now are beginning to play. Sara is in the lineup. On fourth down, we're going to get a punting team on the field. Should be John Anderson coming out to do the kicking. He'll hit it into the wind.
Keith, in defense of the Aggies, they had to get high and up for Texas Tech last week. It was a big conference game. It's tough to play 2 weeks in a row and have to be up for a Michigan team in Ann Arbor and 104,000 people.
Anderson hits a good one, and it's in the end zone. So Texas A&M, with 6 minutes and 22 seconds to play in the ball game, will get the football at their own 21st down. They are trailing 34-3. The time remaining 6:22 in the fourth quarter in the ball game, and Michigan exploding, leading 7-3, and lucky to be leading at halftime, have come out here and just blown it wide open. Aggies have it first down at the 20. Mike Mosley, the quarterback, gives it to Curtis Dickey, and Mike Harden comes up out of the secondary to get him up around the 25-yard line.
Michigan just laying back. I think one of the surprises to me, Keith, is that Michigan could hold Woodard as good as they did with their linebackers playing very deep and scraping off to the outside and reading the play and trying to help at the corner.
Second down, just beyond the 25. And it's David Brothers going in over the right side, slanting. He's short of the first down, up to about the 28-yard line. A lot of Michigan defensive reserves getting to play now. David Walker shaken on the play, has not returned. Mike Mosley doing the quarterbacking. George Woodard with 138 yards on 33 carries.
I'm really surprised that they couldn't get the ball more to Dickey outside. That's been their key in the first ball games. 9-3 in the 100.
Woodard for the first down. George out to the 32. So he picked up 3, and that'll get him over 140 to 141 yards in the ball game.
I can hear the collision up here.
Oh. Yes, sir. Well, it takes 2 or 3 to handle it. Well, I guess those, the Michigan faithful around the country who might have been wondering where their offense had gone.
They found it today.
32-yard line, first down Aggies. Time call. Mosley looking around, wants time. He'll go to the sideline to talk. 5:16 to play in a ball game. And the game gone for the Aggies. Michigan 34, A&M 3. Looking down on Michigan Stadium from the Goodyear Blimp America. 104,802, third largest crowd watching today, and they've been rewarded by the home team as the Michigan Wolverines lead Texas A&M 34-3. Texas A&M trying to get something going. They're bringing up now on third down and about 7 to go from just outside the 35. And here's Bill Fleming.
All right, Keith, and it's time to announce our Chevrolet offensive and defensive players of the game. Russell Davis, Michigan fullback who scored a couple of touchdowns. Ron Simpkins, a sophomore from Detroit who had 10 tackles today, the defensive player of the game. And in their names, Chevrolet will award a $1,000 scholarship each to the University of Michigan General Scholarship Fund. Congratulations, gentlemen.
Mosley to throw it to the sidelines. The pass is intercepted. Picked off by Mike Jolly, and he may go. Touchdown. The 7th turnover by Texas A&M, and right now it could be the worst defeat ever suffered by an Emory Ballard team since he took over as head coach at Texas A&M.
Johnny played that perfectly, obviously. But he laid back and the pass was thrown across the field in the flat. He came up and jumped and leaped and caught it, turned it on towards the goal line.
Greg Wilner for the point. It's good at 3:47 to go in the ball game. It is now Michigan 41, Texas A&M 3. And the sky has fallen on the Aggies.
Mosley is a freshman quarterback. He throws all the way across the field on an out pattern. Johnny comes up, times it beautifully right in front of him and turns it on down the sideline, cutting back, hits the grain and goes in.
From 50 yards for the touchdown.
From another angle, you can see him backing up with deep responsibility. When the receiver breaks out short, he breaks up with him. The ball is thrown just outside. He catches it. Perfectly played. Down the mountain, Mike Jolly. Michigan's defensive secondary have been outstanding in this ball game.
And it's now 41-3 as Wilner prepares to kick off to Smith and Dickey.
When you score a lot of points, your defense has played a great game. If you shut another team out, your offense has played a great game. I figure that one out. But that's the way we play.
The answer to that, it means if you shut them out, your team kept the ball all
That's
afternoon.
correct. You didn't give the turnovers.
Kicked out of bounds. It'll cost Michigan 5. Well, the Wolverines have had trouble kicking off today. 440 in possession, in penalties. 4 for 40 against 11 for 102 for Michigan. While we were away, as you look down on packed Michigan Stadium, Michigan kicked off to the Aggies. Curtis Dickey brought it back to the 31-yard line where it's first down, Texas A&M. Michigan kicking out of bounds 3 times today. They have 102 yards in total penalties. And the Aggies now send Woodard up the middle. George headed for 150 yards in rushing today, the way he's going along with it. Got 143 now on 35 carries.
He will be sore and bruised tonight.
And disappointed. Coming up on 3 minutes to go in a ball game. Mostly reserves on the field now for Michigan, getting some game experience. As Mike Mosley goes down the line, pitches it out to David Brothers, and Brothers is run out of bounds. And we'd like to welcome those in the southeast who've been watching Auburn and Ole Miss play football this afternoon down there. Welcome to Ann Arbor, Michigan, where Michigan is whipping Texas A&M 41-3 with 3:06 to play in the ball game. It was 7-3 at halftime, and Michigan kind of lucky to be in the lead at halftime, but it has been all Michigan in the second half. 7 turnovers by Texas A&M in the game, and the score, as you saw, lopsided 41-3. They hand it off inside again as Edger Armstrong, number 40, is in there. And coming up on ABC's Wide World of Sports today, the final American appearance and competition of the great Pelé from the Meadowlands in New Jersey. An exhibition game between the New York Cosmos and Santos of Brazil, the 2 teams that Pelé has played with in his brilliant soccer career. At the 40-yard line, it is 4th and 1, and the Aggies will go for it. George Woodard fights and gets it as he battles his way out to about the 42, and we go inside 2.5 minutes to play in the game.
They give him Mosley some experience. Let him run the option play. They can't pull the game out.
Our research today by Jerry Klein, our statistician Mike Swanson. 2 1/4 to go in the ball game. The Aggies have just been totally dominated by the Wolverines in the second half. Edger Armstrong carries over the left side on first down from the 43-yard line. And he got about 6 or 7 yards as he punched up to the 48. And you see time running as we come up on 2 minutes to play. But the score is startling. Tony Franklin, expected to be such a major factor in this contest, has had no chance.
The Aggies have not crossed midfield this half. Haven't come close until now. They did.
Brothers gets it over midfield, down into around the Michigan 47-yard line, where Michael Harden runs him out. Some of the people in the ball game for Michigan: Dale Kites is in. Tom Melita playing up in front at middle guard. Gary Weber is in at a tackle position. Mark DeSantis, Mel Owens, Jeff Bednarik, Tom Sebron, Mike Jolly, Michael Harden, Gene Bell, and Mark Bremen in the lineup. Virtually all reserves in their playing now for Michigan.
What's this?
Mosley hands inside, and a little bit of a collision between the fullback Woodard and the quarterback Mosley, as on 3rd down and inches to go, he gave it to Big George, and George popped through there and got a yard. That's about all he needed, and now he's got 151 yards in the ball game on 38 carries.
He's had a full day.
None of those have been long either, Frank. I think the longest run he's had probably was 11, 12 yards.
I would say a minimum of 3 people have tackled him on each of those plays.
That's right. 1:25 to go in a ball game, and again they pop it up the middle. Prudential College scoreboard coming along. We're anticipating we'll have time to run down some of the scores from around the country with highlights just as soon as the ball game is over. And just prior to the beginning of ABC's Wide World of Sports today, now 155 yards for George Woodard on 39 carries as he picked up 4 yards there. Also, we're getting another segment of our ABC college football audience joining us who've been watching the East Carolina game today. Here's Mike Mosley, the freshman, trying to get it outside. He gives it to David Brothers, and poor David had no place to go by the time he got the ball. Now, that's a play that is A&M's run several times today, and it seems most of the time it's gone to the tight side of the field.
They were actually trying to pass, and the receiver was covered, so it turns into an option play, and there's no place to run. You have to have field to throw that.
football now is sitting at the 49, just over midfield, actually, short of the 49-yard line, with 48 seconds to play and a 41-3 score, Michigan. 41-3. Who would have thought it? Adger Armstrong got no place to go as the Wolverines jump all over him on 3rd down and 13. And the clock continues to roll along. So the Michigan Wolverines, who were voted into first place in the preseason polls, who held first place in the first 2 weeks of the season, dropped down to 3rd in the national rankings last week behind USC and Oklahoma. They come out of the second half today, breathing fire, and they blow the Aggies up.
Deliver me from having to play a team that just been moved out of first place.
Yeah, Frank Boyles made that point very early, that the psychological advantage, if there is one, would have to belong to Michigan, playing here before the 3rd largest crowd ever, 104,802. And the crowd beginning to come out on the field as Michigan goes across to congratulate the Texas Aggies for the game effort they gave them. The game is over. Michigan has won it by a score of 41-3. Provided by the Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company. Travel arrangements made through and promotional fee paid by United Airlines. United built the largest airline